to the Hard Rock Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. The March 31st show kicked off with another unusual.
Hold on, it's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of Thursday Night Hard Rock Sports, live from Higher Top Hard Rock Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your weekly 3-hour get-together where we bring you all the biggest news from around the world of hard rock, heavy metal, and of course the wide world of sports. And guys, welcome into our little humble abode. That's right, our little humble abode. How's everybody's week been? I hope you've had a good one. It's been an interesting one. Getting a little chilly. It's a little dark out there today. And we're glad you guys giving us a little time here in the middle of your busy week, heading for the weekend. October 1st. Man, it's been a long year, guys. It's been a long year. And it's been an interesting year, nonetheless, but a long one. And good to have you on board. And lots to talk about this week. We got a lot of sports. If you're still hanging in there with the sports world, some of you are, some of you probably aren't. Which is completely understandable. Again, nobody's going to knock you. You know, right now there's a lot of people who are not paying attention to the wide world of sports like we do over here in Hard Rock and Sports. So, I hope you are. You'll join us for tonight. We have a lot to talk about. Let me reshare in the radio audience. Lots to do, lots to say, lots to talk about. Right here at Hard Rock and Sports. I hope you guys have had a good week, and we'll get right to it. Listen, whether you're watching baseball or not, the Yankees are in to have won a sweep, as they call it. It's a sweep, but hold on. Let me tell you what's going on tonight before Jeff gets in. Jeff's running a little late tonight, so tonight we're going to talk about the Yankees probably for the first half hour. We'll talk a little baseball. We'll talk a bit about the Jets and Giants, probably a lot. We got some Iron Maiden news coming up at you. We got some news from the AC/DC camp, so we'll get them on there tonight. We're going to go right through the football league this year, and anything else that comes to mind in the next 2.5-3 hours when Jeff joins us. But for the first few minutes, we'll do baseball. Jeff's not the biggest baseball fan in the world, so it'll give me a chance to get in the Yankees and talk about some of the teams that are still playing in the league. Interesting. It's been an interesting. Let's talk a little about the Yankees before we go around. Not surprising that the Yankees won. I'm gonna get my dad on in a second, but not surprising. I mean, I think the Yankees, an up and down year to say the least. Okay, so let's put it where it is. The Yankees came out; they were the favored to join the Dodgers in the playoffs. The Dodgers have fulfilled their end of the bargain. The Yankees struggled. They came out of the box, had a ton of injuries. Came out of the box hot. I would say the first 20 games, they were as good as anybody, and then they lost 15 of 20, came back, won, I think, 10 of 15, had a little rough stretch at the end, but good enough to get to the playoffs and face the Cleveland Indians. First game, Yankees went out there. You scored 20 runs in your 2-game sweep. Your offense is clicking, but good pitching by Cole was great. Tanaka not so great. Bullpen wasn't great. They gave up, especially last night. They gave back a bunch of a couple of 2-run leads. So a little question marks heading into the next series, which will be against the Tampa Rays out in Los Angeles in the bubble. Lots to talk about. You're talking about a 5-game series in 5 days. You're not going to be able to pitch unless you're going to come back on short rest. You're not going to be able to pitch your big guys. You get a 5-game series usually. You get a break in the middle of that. Maybe you go 2-2-1. Sometimes you go 2-3. You got a chance to at least get your big guy back in Game 5. Unless you're going to go on short rest, you get Cole in Game 5. So you got to figure the Yankees right now. We'll get back to the matchup with the Indians, but you got to figure the Yankees are going Cole, Tanaka, probably Happ. I would guess you're going to see Garcia or Montgomery, but probably Garcia. And then it comes down to Game 5. If you need Game 5, if you get to that point, you're probably bringing Cole back. It'll be on short rest, but you're probably going to bring him back with the season on the line. I would. Obviously, if you don't need it, then obviously you won't get there. So I would look for Cole twice in this series. It's a good matchup. Two teams. The pitching should be a little favored the other way with Snell and Glasnow and Morton. So I think you're looking at a good series. And here's the thing: these two teams don't like each other. This is a good matchup from that standpoint. 5 games in 5 days. These teams don't like each other. They threw it. They're throwing at each other. They were jawing at each other. T-shirts. I mean, this is a good old-fashioned baseball rivalry. So, that's Monday night out in San Diego. I believe the Texas games are letting in some fans. So it's we're getting some October baseball, albeit the Yankees and the Rays on the West Coast. But the Yankees, listen, last night's game was bad. I don't care. That was a 4.5-hour game for 9 innings. And that doesn't include the rain delays. That game finished at 1:14. I went to bed. It was after 11. I think it was in the 7th inning or 6th inning. It was a 6-6 game. I had no juice left, and I went to sleep. I fell asleep at my desk in the chair. That's how tired I was at that game. And, listen, I think it was 16 walks. I mean, not great baseball, guys. But the Yankees came back several times and earned the right to beat Cleveland. I don't think anybody really thought this was going to be a great matchup. I did think, winning, the only chance I thought Cleveland had was winning game one. One of the better pitchers in the league, and their best pitcher, Shane Bieber, got outdueled. He did not look comfortable out there on the mound. If you watch the game, you could tell, guys, when the guy's just feeling it. I didn't looking at Shane Bieber that night, did not look like he had it. Home run right off the bat from Judge, got it started. And the Yankees went crazy. Listen, they pounded home runs. Urshela had a major game last night against Castillo. Good Carrasco, sorry. Good game, but good by the Yankees. But typical Yankees are going to bludgeon you. In this series against Tampa, I'm not seeing that. So it's going to be fun. Let me get my dad in. Let's see what he thinks about what happened with the Yanks and what's coming up. It's my dad. Hey, Pop.
Hey, what's up, Tom? How you doing?
I'm good. Good. Just me and you. What'd you think what'd you think?
Game last night,
you did.
And I got to tell you, that was one of the best double plays I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I heard that. I didn't see it live last night. I did watch the replays. So hell of a play by Urshela.
I've seen Nettles make some great plays.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was defensively one of the best third basemen I've seen. And that kid was sitting on he made first just to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Was fantastic. And then from the seat of his pants to throw accurately to second base and to get that doubleheader, that just killed the Cleveland. They just tore their heart out.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you. Again, not the greatest play game. That 16 walks, Carrasco couldn't find the plate last night. The Yankee bullpen gives up, I think, 2-run leads. They were lucky to get out of there with a win last night.
You know what? I'd rather be lucky than good, Tom.
Oh, good.
I agree with you. It was a shitty game, but, somebody had to win, and I'd rather win a shitty game than lose a shitty game.
Oh, listen, no doubt. No doubt. I'm not giving it back, that's for sure.
Right home about. Cleveland's not one of the greatest teams. They played in a weak division, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Even that pitcher, what was his name? The guy that pitched the first game?
Shane Bieber?
I'm not taking anything away from
him.
You have to be something to pitch in the major league.
Absolutely.
But, he's not I'd like to see him next year if they play everybody and see. Because he played Chicago, which wasn't that much of a team.
Mm-hmm.
They played Cincinnati. They played a lot of the Midwest teams.
Yeah, sure.
And but it was a very good have. Very proud of the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
They came back hitting.
Yeah.
And that Urshela, I got to tell you, you can say anything you want, but the Yankees to get him, and Buck Showalter said the right thing. Anybody that tells you they saw the potential there, he said they're full of sugar.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
Everybody knew he had a great glove, but nobody, nobody thought he was going to be what he is.
No, listen, there's no doubt. I mean, afterthoughts and trades and, guys get released and you never know. I mean, guys like Luke Voigt and even Tauchman and especially Urshela last year with his bat and his glove This year, not a great stick during the regular season, but the guy's got a great glove. But last night, grand slam, scores the game winning run, and turns a phenomenal double play. I mean, just one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was. I remember watching Nettles in the. I'm sure you do too.
Sure,
when they played the Dodgers.
78, sure.
And he made some catches.
Yeah.
But I mean, this kid, he does hitting. He does it. I mean, and let's talk about what is it, DJ?
Paul LeMahieu. Oh my God, what a hitter!
Oh God. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know who did the scouting for the Yankees,
Mm-hmm.
but they did very well because they picked up some.
Yeah, you got it. Listen, we're going to have to give Cashman credit. We like to people bash Cashman. He's been there a long time and he's made some bad ones, but DJ LeMahieu is one of the best acquisitions that he has made. Free agent signings. I hope they sign him long term. The guy is just a machine.
Can't lose him.
Yeah, the guy's a machine.
Can't lose him.
Yeah.
No, this gentleman he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't overshift on him. You have to
No.
play him straight up.
Absolutely.
He can hit the ballpark.
And you know what? He's a better than competent fielder. The guy runs the base. He's just one of those guys who's a good baseball player. No chest pounding, none of that stuff. And listen, to me, he's still a young guy. I hope they sign him for long term. And you build him on a guy like that. I don't really like him in the leadoff spot for some reason. It bothers me. I like him to be hitting in the third hole, but he does the job.
The leadoff spot is what, Tommy? Just the first inning.
No, I get it. I get it.
You're your best hitter to the plate more often than anybody.
No, I get it, but then you're still following up on your 8-9 hitters who aren't great. So he's coming to the plate a lot of times with nobody on base. The 3 hole, you got to hope at least that your number 1 and 2 hitters are getting on base. So, but again, I told you, it's not killing me, but I would rather see him in the traditional 3 hole. But again, I'll take him batting anyway, Dad. And listen, Torres got lit up a little. Torres finally showed up. Stanton had a few hits. Voigt's hitting home runs. This team, if it's getting on a roll, it's going to be tough to stop.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to beat them down here. Yeah. I think even they go right through the Dodgers.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not scared of the Dodgers, but I am scared of the Rays. The Rays have 3 top pitchers. They've owned the Yankees this year, 8-2. The neutral site bothers me a little bit. I like to be playing these games in Yankee Stadium. And that 5 games in 5 days. You play every day next week. It's weird.
The only problem I see with them is they're not afraid of the Yankees.
No, absolutely right. No, you're right.
They show that they can play with them.
Yeah.
And what the Yankees have to do is don't get intimidated and don't let them bully you. In other words, don't try to retaliate, because a couple of times they're gonna bust one over your head. And the worst thing to do is to try to make this into a fist fight. Which it shouldn't be.
I agree. The thing the Yankees have to come out there doing game 1 is they got to come out and hit. They got to get to their pitching early. That'll help. But again, this is not the Twins. This is not the Indians. They're not going to be the Rays are not going to be intimidated by the Yankees. They've beaten them enough.
You know what, Tommy? And I'm not taking anything away from they won 8 out of 10 games.
Yep.
But I truly believe this. I think from day one, the Yankees were not interested in what place they finished. They knew they were going to be in the playoffs, and all they were doing was gearing themselves for the playoffs. If you look the way they managed the team, the way they kept guys out of you watch these guys come back from injury, and what they do to them. They just played them a game, kept them out. In other words, everything was getting ready for the playoffs. From the beginning of the season to the end was just to get ready for the playoffs. That I really, truly believe.
Well, Dad, I'm not going to argue that the Yankees didn't put a high priority because, listen, you're not playing for home field advantage. So I get that. I think the only thing I'll disagree. Here's the thing I think was a big thing for the Yankees this year. They had a lot of injuries in a short amount of time. Last year they had a lot of injuries, but it was spaced over the season, and you had a bunch of guys rise to the occasion. You had guys like Tauchman, who played great last year. Gardner had an amazing season. Voit was good. Guys came forward, had a good second half of the season. This year, those guys didn't hit, and you lost Stanton for a good part of the year. Judge for a good part of the year. Urshela didn't hit as good as he did, and he was out for a while. The thing that kept the Yankees alive this year was the pitching. The bullpen wasn't. I think the starting pitching was better than any other year.
The bullpen was terrible this year.
Yeah,
I thought there was a lot of problems.
I agree with you on that one. I do, and I think this is the Yankees. I don't think anybody's going to doubt the fact that the Yankees are a very talented team. They can hit. There's not a terrible fielding team. I think the problem for the Yankees is staying healthy. If the Yankees stay healthy, they match up with anybody. The Rays scare me. Anybody else, I'm picking the Yankees.
See, I'm not afraid of the Rays. I'm not afraid of them because, again, I don't think the Yankees really gave a sugar what they did with them because they knew they were going to, and they weren't going to kill themselves.
Right.
They weren't going to get anybody hurt. They weren't going to force anybody to play because a lot of times guys came back. They came back for one day, then they sat down for a day or two, then they came back. So you could see they were just going through the motion because they knew either they were going. They had to make the playoffs. It would be impossible.
Well, that field for the last 2 weeks of the season, their playoff status was up in the air. So this was no shoo-in. This wasn't like they were riding first and second place all season. I think the Yankees actually, if you want to actually tell you the truth, I think the Yankees took for granted a bit that they were going to make the playoffs. And
I agree with you there.
Yeah, and I think that hurt them. I think when they woke up to, hey, wait a second, we were picked to win this and certainly get to the playoff, get to the World Series. I think they finally woke up, but I think the big thing was the injuries. I think they got a lot of guys hurt this year, and the guys who stepped up last year did not step up. So it's going to be interesting. Next week's going to be an interesting. I'm not sure I'm crazy about all of this. If they win the World Series, you're going to forget all about it. But if they lose, you're going to, as a fan, you're kind of go, this sucks.
I keep saying I'm not afraid of. I really ain't afraid of Tampa. I don't think Tampa. I think Tampa blew themselves up to thinking they're walking around with their chest out, pumping their chest, thinking that they. And I'm not saying they're not a good team.
No,
you have to be a good team to win. But I think had this been a regular season, you would have saw a different thing. With the Yankees.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
We won't know till next week.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Game 1 Monday night out in San Diego. It's going to be interesting watching. Probably 8:00 start, and it's going to be 5:00 out there. The sun will be shining, so it's going to be a lot of fun. 5 games in 5 days. What's your prediction? That 3 games, 4 games, 5 games? What are you thinking?
You know what? The first game is the most important game of all.
Yep.
That's to me.
Mm-hmm.
You're setting the tempo
for
them. Because now, if you can get the first game, now you know who's going to pitch. If they get to a 5th game, you know who's going to pitch.
Yeah. Well, again, I agree with that. You're going to go Cole, Tanaka, probably Happ. I would think you're going to come back in game 4 with the kid Garcia if you go to 4. Right. And if you go to game 5, it's going to be Cole. Now, if you get to game 4 and you're down, and you get the big money for. Correct. Now, if you get to game 4, Dad, and now that's only 3 days rest. If you get to game 4 and you're down 2-1, that's a must-win game. Don't be surprised if the Yankees don't go to Cole in game 4.
Well, I think that's very important. And then what I'm thinking that I just don't see it going to 5 games. I really don't, because I still think that Tampa is over their head, and they really believe that they're better than the Yankees.
Oh.
And I mean, you could take them and match them up, and the Yankees come out. The only weak spot maybe with the Yankees is catcher.
I would agree with that. I
left field maybe.
I agree. I agree with both of those. I think the Yankees are strong. If everybody's healthy and playing well, the Yankees are tough to beat. I think their pitching staffs match up pretty good. I would normally take the Yankees bullpen, but it hasn't been great. So, again, I think you're right. The tone is going to be game 1. I think Cole's got to pitch well. And if the Yankees come out and win game 1, then I will pick the Yankees in 4. If they lose game 1, I'm going to take the Yankees in 5. I think the Yankees will find a way to win this series. I think they just have too much talent if they stay healthy. But I'm going to pick them.
I agree with you. And I don't think Cole, if he's pitching good the first game, I don't think he's going to go past the 7th inning because they don't want to kill him.
Agreed.
Like said,
yeah.
If they need him.
Well, I mean, listen, this game, they went real late with Cole in that game, and he was at 90-some pitches, and they were up big. If you are in the 6th or 7th inning of that game and you're up 5, 6, 7 runs, not that you want to pull the plug, but you kind of want to save some pitches in case you need them later in the series. So you don't want to go to 120 pitches in game 1 and him have nothing left to go pitch in game 5 or 4 if you need it. So we'll see. It's a little ways away, but I'm looking forward to Monday, and we got a lot of stuff going on the weekend. And of course, I'm going to see you over the weekend. How'd you do today? Any luck? I guess not.
I need somebody to go to work for you.
What are you going to do, Pops? What are you going to do?
Well, I got to make my contribution.
There you go.
All right, Tommy.
All right, Pops.
Good night.
You got it.
And I'll talk to you later.
You got it. I'll see you over the weekend, Pops. That's my dad. Checks every weekend. I see another somewhat friendly face popping up on the screen right now. That would be the co-host of the Hard Rock and Sports Show, everybody's favorite whiskered guy, Mr. Jeff Joe Biden Towinski. What's up, brother? Oh, look, do that again. Do it again. I didn't get the big picture. Hold on. Let me get a big up there. You got your notes?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, right now we're talking baseball for a few more minutes. So we're going to stick on baseball a little bit.
All right. Can I give my 2 cents on that?
Of course.
Baseball sucks. All right. Moving on to the Giants.
No, I'm not moving on to the Giants yet. I know you want to. Jeff, what do you think about this? So, I don't want to get too much into game situations. I did a little bit of it already, and I know you're not really following the minute-to-minute stuff. But, like last night's Yankee game was a 4-hour and 50-minute 9-inning game without rain delays. The game finished at 1:15 in the morning. There were 16 walks in the game.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I want to say there were 12 strikeouts, but I'm not sure about that. I know game 1, Cole had 12 strikeouts. Not fundamentally a great way to watch a baseball game. I tried to watch. I literally fell asleep in this chair working on the show, watching the game. It was so and so late.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah. I fell asleep for 45 minutes sitting in this chair last night trying to watch that game. But, Jeff, now the Yankees and the Rays, who both swept their series, sit around till Monday. They're going out to the baseball bubble, playing all 5 games in 5 days in San Diego.
Well, you know what I think? At this point in time, especially because of COVID, I don't like the idea of the playoffs. It seems that they keep a National League teams versus National League teams and American versus American right now.
For the playoffs, they do. Yeah, for the playoffs, they do. For the regular season, they cross-matched, but not for the playoffs.
I think just because of this year, because of COVID and because of the way everything is different, they should have just seeded these teams 1 through however many teams. Because
16
baseball, 16.
Yeah, 8 in each league,
and maybe 8 plays 16. Like do 2 division 1 through 8, 9 through 16, or something like that.
That'd be interesting.
Just put them in groupings or some. There's ways that they could have done it that maybe at the end, maybe you get the best possible series.
Well,
maybe, like, for example, I know that it's not, but maybe the best series could be the Yankees versus the Devil Rays. People would want to see that, just for this year alone. I think it would be cool. But
no, I think that would be cool. I think right now, of course, I think the ideal matchup, if you're Major League Baseball, is Yankees-Dodgers. That would be the ideal matchup this year.
Dodgers, Red Sox, Dodgers. I know the Red Sox aren't in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You want the big names, the older names.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the two big markets, 2 historic franchises played each other a dozen times already in their lifetimes. So it would be interesting. I just, curious, it hasn't been great baseball. I have to be honest. I've watched a little bit lately because it's the playoffs, and the Cincinnati Reds was swept by the Braves 2-0. Didn't score a run in either game.
Sounds like New York football.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's both games, Jeff. They were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position, and the one hit did not score a run. So, yeah, I mean, so I was listening today on the way home, and there was a guy called in to one of the national shows, and he was like, that's just great pitching. You're not giving the Atlanta Braves enough credit. And the guy said, no, listen, that's great pitching, but I don't care how great your pitching is. When you can't score 1 run in 20, they played 1 game for, it was 13 innings, I think. When you can't score 1 run in 22 innings in 2 games, you stink offensively.
It's hard to deny that. The pitching could be as great as any pitching ever known to man. but somebody's going to put some fucking wood on the bat. There's nobody that's. You know how many hits they got overall in the series?
I don't have that stat in front of me now. I don't.
Well,
I can look
I'd imagine if there was no runs, they probably didn't get very many hits. And there are teams that do slump at the wrong times.
Yeah.
Now, they did slump at the wrong time, but
obviously,
I gotta say that, that's rough, man. No runs in 2 games.
Yeah.
How often does a team get shut out 2 games in a row?
Exactly. Yeah. Even regular season or other. And now you're in the playoffs. Now, again, listen, the Reds weren't a great team. They had better pitching than they did. They do have hitting, but you're right. In this day and age, Jeff, with teams are pounding home runs left and right, you hit a wind-driven home run, in one inning of a game. I mean, you just don't get shut out 2 games in a row. And the problem, a lot of it was, here's the thing, and I'll say it again, teams playing nowadays, they don't play for one run. Like, nobody's bunting, nobody's hitting guys over, and you're playing for a home run, and that's exactly what happened to the Cincinnati Reds.
And unfortunately, we've talked about this before several times, and it's the way that it is.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that kind of game.
No.
You want to see offense. If baseball wants people back watching and getting involved in the game, they're going to want to see offense. And the best way and the easiest way to get offense is to start hitting home runs. I'm sure that if you would ask, a nonchalant fan, would they want to see 3 home runs and
oh, absolutely, 100%,
5 runs because of it, or watch them bunt over a bunch of guys and pick away and get 5 by the end of the game, but there's 1 run, 2 runs, and then nothing for 3 innings, then another run. It is kind of like boring and stuff.
Well, Jeff, look at the Yankee series. The Yankees scored 20 runs in 2 games, and people would say, I would guess, if I said to you, Jeff, what were the better games to a nonchalant baseball fan? They would go, well, the Yankees scored 20 runs in 2 games. That's the better series. The Yankee game last night was completely almost unwatchable. It was just such slow, bad baseball, too many walks. The first game, just home run after home run. It was bad baseball. There was other series where there were 2-1 games that were just great football, great baseball games, Jeff. But you're right. The casual, nonchalant fan does not want to watch that game.
No, because, like we said, every time we talk baseball, the purist in you wants to see a run earned. Not many people just want to see a run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just appear up on the board instantly at a swing of a bat.
I have to put something on the screen. I'm going to tell you. So I got a message from Big Lou Pica. Let me see if you can read this. So Lou,
I can't. Hold on. I didn't see it.
There you go. So Louis in Facebook jail. He cannot comment because he's in trouble. Kind of like you, Jeff. He kind of got in trouble. So we may have to throw him a benefit.
Been there. Tell him. Listen to me, Louis.
He's listening to you.
Okay, Louis. Go to the corner of the yard. They have Raymond there. Go see Joe. He's always got the white shirt on and the headband. That's the guy you got to look for in Facebook jail.
Louis, we miss you. We miss your little comments there, Gumati Lou. So he's watching us, but he can't comment. So.
Oh, that sucks. I know that. I did 90 days in jail, 90 out of 115 days, I think it was at one stretch. I was thrown in jail like every time I turned around. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
He's managed to stay out. Well, we got a lot to get to tonight. Hard Rock Sports, Tom and Jeff here every Thursday night, 7 to 9:30, 10 o'clock. We're glad you stopped by. We're glad you're listening in and having some fun with us. We're talking a little baseball. We're going to get to the Yankees. I'm sorry, we're going to get to the Jets and Giants. Why, I don't know, but we're going to have to. We're going to go around the Football League. We got some Iron Maiden, some AC/DC. We got plenty to get to tonight. When we continue and can move on, remember next Thursday night, Ron Keel joins Jeff and I for some fun right here on the October 8th show. On October 15th, Rick Rule from Every Mother's Nightmare. October 22nd, we got Ross the Boss Friedman checking in. We have to take Big Lou and go out to Ross the Boss's batting cage. I think that's who's got to be our third guy on that one. Big Lou Pica and you and me going to Ross the Boss.
Listen, that's fine. I mean, but I don't know if I should be seen or if I can be seen with a known criminal.
That's true. You two guys wouldn't be allowed to associate each other.
One of us may have to go in through the back door, if you know what I mean.
Well, you're used to going in through the back door, so what's the difference?
Say two guys in prison, we shouldn't be talking about the back door. That's not true.
That's true. We said a false thing here. So, but also, I think the 29th we're going to have Jeff Westlake and his new lead singer.
That's great. And I got to go on record right now. I sent you a text earlier. You didn't answer me back. I'm saying it on the air right now. Speak. I want the half man. The half man.
I was on the air when you sent this. Okay. Listen, I am not.
I sent it a long time ago. I didn't say you weren't on the air. I want the half man. You got to reach out to him. You got to get him on there.
I will talk to my wife and see if she can reach out to the half man. He has not returned my text messages or calls since the passing of his pops, and I gave up. So I will ask my wife.
I am this close to calling him up right now on air. This close.
Listen, I would love to. If you could get him on the phone, I would be the happiest guy in the whole world.
I actually really just said that to make it like dramatic. I really don't want to talk to him right now. I want to see his face. I want to see him on the air. I want to.
Well, think about it. You know, the paying audience out there has heard us talk about Dominic for 5 years. Now all of a sudden we'd have the ability to put him up on the screen, almost like putting him on your shelf.
Matter of fact, hold on right there. I just happen to have a little elf on the shelf, right?
The Dom on the shelf. We could have him
on the shelf. The Dahmer.
Yes. So we'll work on that off the air. But the Jet game's up on the screen, so I want to go to the Jets first tonight. I know you want to get to the Giants, and rightfully so. But I think I want to go Jets first because I got a lot more to talk about. First off, let's talk about the Jets tonight. We'll forget about Sunday for now.
I don't even want to talk. This is where I stand with the Jets. All right, then we
got a lot to say.
I don't even want to touch the past. I want to look forward and continue to look forward simply because every play that they blow, every time that they don't do something, they're that much closer to getting rid of fucking Gettleman. You got to understand. I am so happy right now because tomorrow morning I may look on the fucking headlines. He may be gone. He might not even be a coach come midnight.
You said Gettleman. You meant Gase, so I got you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He may have to buy his own ticket home.
Well, I'll tell you this.
I hope he gets pickpocketed and you don't have his wallet with him.
Well, let's call it what it is. Let's call this what it is. You know, this is not only a must win. If you don't win this game as a Jets, if you're the Jets and you can't go out to, are they home or are they away this today?
They're in Denver.
Okay. If you can't go beat up the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup, his backup, if you can't win this game tonight, when are you going to win a game? That's the major question here. I mean, I was a big Gase guy. I will be the first to say I blew it. He came in and I didn't realize all the narcissistic, I'm better than everybody, I know more than everybody that I've seen since then. I've heard it all. It's not my play calling, it's the players. It's the execution. It's not my play calling. It's not my system. Somebody brought it up today and they said, what if the Jets had drafted Josh Allen instead of Sam Darnold, and we'd be a better team because look what Josh Allen's doing up in Buffalo. And I said, you know what? That's horseshit. Because you would have brought Josh Allen, you could have brought Tom Brady here. And if you're not going to put the team in front of him, you're turning him into nobody anyway, Jeff.
Well, listen, I got to say that I agree with you partly.
Okay.
Because to me, I feel, this is just my thoughts, doesn't mean I'm right. I feel as though that if your quarterback is good and he's a worthy quarterback, he should be capable of elevating your team, elevating the play of your offense. Of course, he's not on defense. There's not much he can do there. But he should be able to elevate your team somewhat.
Okay.
I'm sure you would agree with that.
Of course.
We've seen quarterbacks like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers play with some subpar players and still have success, continued success at that. Matthew Ryan, who yes at one time had probably the best wide receiver of his generation, but is constantly throwing for 5,000 yards. Now, yes, he may be throwing it in garbage time because the Lions are a bad team or whatever. But when you, at the end of the season, you look up his stats, he's doing what he can to help move the team and to do what he's got to do with his team. I don't see that happening with Donald. Now, if the Jets would have been better if they had drafted Josh Allen? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know what would have happened, but I'll tell you this much: Sam Darnold is damaged goods, and if they were smart, I personally feel that they would be smarter and better off if they tried to get rid of him today. Right? Maybe not today, but you know what I mean by today.
Oh, yeah, no, I got it. I got you.
Well, he still has something to shoot there.
Listen, at the end of this year, you're right now, both our New York teams. We'll get to the other one in a minute because I'm just as upset with them as you are, as much as you want to have fun with them. But here's the thing. They're both the last two in the league. The Jets could be playing for. And listen, Jeff, after this week, if you don't win this week, listen to the next few weeks. You're going home to Arizona. You're out to LA.
Hold up. Let's take these one at a time, real quick. Matt's agreeing on Donald.
Yeah.
You're saying that they're playing.
By the way, Matt's going to join. Matt's going to join us next week to help break down the first quarter of the season. I'm trying to get Frank Jeffrey too, but Matt's going to come on next week with us. Go ahead. So go ahead. You got the Cardinals.
Cardinals. They don't stand a chance against the Cardinals.
Okay, so there's one
against the Cardinals. So put that down as a loss.
Okay. Now you're going to go out to Los Angeles and play the Chargers the week after.
Possible they have a chance. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm saying they have a chance.
Okay.
They have a chance to make it a game.
Then you come home and you play the Buffalo Bills.
They're going to get destroyed.
Then they're going to go out to Kansas City and play the Chiefs.
Come on.
Okay. Then they're back home again on a Monday night against the Patriots.
Go back one to the Chiefs. Though my only question about the Chiefs is simply this: what is the point spread going to be?
Yeah.
What could the point spread possibly be? Is it true that I'd like to ask Raphael about this. Somebody had said that possibly 35. Is that possible?
I've never seen anything even close to that. So I mean, I can't imagine, but I would have to say if you go into that week and the Jets have one win, and you're going into Kansas City on a Monday night, that's a 40-point loss in my book. But
it could be an NFL record by the time it's done.
Okay, so you're going to come home after that, and you're going to play on Monday night against the Patriots.
They're going to lose. Cam Newton is going to run all over them, man.
Now, here's your best shot at 2 wins: is you're at Miami, and then you get a week off, and you come back, and you're home to Miami.
At best, he's saying point spread 22.5.
I would agree with that. I
think it's going to be minimum 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
minimum and higher. But as far as what you just said, I don't even know if maybe they steal one. Maybe. And I'll tell you the truth: if they steal the first one, all you're going to do is piss the Dolphins off. They're going to come back and kick the shit out of them.
Yeah, then they go out to LA to play the Raiders. I'm going to give them a loss there. They're home to the Raiders. They go out to LA. They go out to Seattle. There's a loss. They play the Rams, the Browns, and the Patriots. Jeff,
they stand a chance against the Browns.
Huh?
Maybe against the Browns.
Well, again, this is a team that could be. Here's the thing: if you're the Jets and you get through the season with 3 wins, and you're staring at the number 1 pick in the draft, are you sticking with Donald, or are you going to go to Trevor Lawrence, or are you going to go another way and build up this team with the number 1 pick in the draft?
Sam Darnold hasn't done anything.
I agree.
For me to turn around and say that they need to give this guy some another year. I understand it's COVID. I understand there was no preseason. I understand that he's dealing with a lot of injuries on his team. I understand he has no weapons, but Jets will finish 2-14.
Well, Matt brought up a great point. So here's where I was headed.
I said the same. I said Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, you did. And here's the thing. He would almost have to go, and I'll tell you why. And here's the point. If you're Joe Douglas and you're afforded the opportunity to come back, which he probably should be, because he did not build this team totally to this point. Now, don't get me. Joe Douglas can't go out next year and have 2 or 3 wins again, but
he can have 2 or 3 wins if that team. And I can't stand saying this because we've been saying this.
Oh, I know you're going to go.
What happens if they show an improvement? If they were losing games by 5 points, 6 points, a big loss for them this year was 10 points. That's the horror show that I'm thinking about this year.
Yeah. Right? No, I agree.
Does Adam Gase say the Jets go out and have a good game, and now all of a sudden it gets Gase a little reprieve? I want to see the fucking Broncos up 28-0 by the end of the first quarter.
You want to put the stamp on it, right? You don't want it to linger. Whereas, because listen, you're 100% right. But the problem for the Jets is you're going to change coaches almost assuredly, whether it's during the season or after the season. That coach is going to want a new quarterback. He's not going to want to go unless somebody's going to come out. Unless the enemy's going to come in and go, I can fix Sam Darnold, which would make no sense to me.
No, listen. It happened. We've seen it happen with Mark Sanchez.
Yes.
Okay. The guy had a chance. He came in 2 years in a row. He went to the AFC Championship game. Yeah. And that was it. He never even made the playoffs again. Maybe if he played Madden. Okay. And everything. Well, listen, Matt's saying about drafting a receiver. I'm not even going to read after that right now, Matt. So please. But you just had a receiver-rich draft. And they drafted a quarterback, a project quarterback. Why?
Yeah.
Why? And what other stupidity did they draft? Like an offensive lineman, like real late in the draft that maybe wasn't going to take a chance. Like, wouldn't you try to go after? You're saying about a linebacker. That's great, but go get another linebacker in the draft, another receiver. Why are you taking a quarterback that's never going to get on the field? What is the point of that?
Well, here's the thing. Matt's
I'm sorry, Tom, but they signed Flacco for 1 year. Okay? If that's going to be your way you deal with your backups, that's fine. Sign a different one every year. Don't take a project quarterback. Just don't bother.
Yeah. I definitely thought they reached that. There's a couple teams I thought did that same thing, and I don't like it. But, here's the thing. What I was getting to is I have no faith. At some point over these years, you have to almost stumble into a playoff team. You almost have to, name me the last Jet draft pick that you would hold in high regard.
I don't know. Maybe this kid Becton.
But again, he's too early to tell. I'm talking about, the last one would be Jamal Adams. And I like Jamal Adams as a player. The problem I have with Jamal Adams, he's not an impact player as a safety. It's just impossible. So you couldn't pay him, and he became a head case. So that was closest you're going to get to an impact player. The last impact player that the Jets had, as far as I'm concerned, probably goes back to DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Nick Mangold.
Same draft. So, to me, that's it.
You're right. And not for nothing with Adams, okay? Just talking about Jamal Adams. First of all, they wanted to see what they could have possibly have got for him in a trade
right
years back. Okay, that should have never have been leaked out.
Agreed.
Okay, if you're going to be a general manager, it's your job to look. Nobody should be untouchable on a team like the Jets. Every single player could possibly be dealt for. And it's just, so what does it take to listen to a phone call? You could laugh at them and hang up and be
absolutely. I listen. To me, there's very few guys in the league, even today, that you would say are untradeable, unapproachable to be traded for.
Listen, right now, as far as the New York Jets go, there's not one player on that team.
Oh, of course not.
That's untradeable, including Becton.
Yeah, listen, there's no guarantee. Listen, Becton's already got a little bit hobbled up. I think the kid's played well. He's graded out very well. He's graded out as Pro Football Focus had him as the best of the starting of the tackles that were drafted. Good. I think it's a good start for the Jets. You can lock down that spot. That's big. But let's be honest, man. I have no faith.
It's like we said a couple of weeks ago too. When the best player on your team appears to be the left tackle, you might have an issue.
I'm not going to argue that. Listen, I want my left tackle to be a great player on my team, but I don't know if I want him to be the greatest player on my team, and that may be the problem. So, listen, I have no faith that the Jets are going to come out here this year or next year and draft somebody that is going to be consequential to what they're trying to do. So let's be honest. I mean, if you're a Jet fan, you know, here's the thing. I'm going to hand you 3 number 1 picks. What's to say you're going to do anything with them? What am I seeing? I can barely see that.
I'm going to read it for you. It's my Jets notes. Before we get too far away, I want to just read them real quick. I want my Jets notes. Okay. You see right here, it says, I don't know if you can see it.
Adam Gase must go.
Adam Gase must go, period. End of story. That wraps up and sums up the Jets.
Right.
I mean, of course, I was able to get us some more about the New York Giants.
I figured you did, yeah.
Because, you know why?
Why?
The New York Giants actually are trying to do something compared to what this fucking idiot is
Well,
trying to do.
here's the problem. I'm going to finish up one more time with the Jets. One more thing with the Jets. So here's my problem. The Jets are in this kind of rut. You know, they hire a GM after you have your coach. So now that guy's stuck with the coach already, and now the coach doesn't work out. This GM gets to hire the next coach. Now if you're a year or two into the next coach and the GM hasn't put a team around him, now you're starting that whole treadmill over again. New GM. To me, again, I'm not blaming Joe Douglas, but it's almost time for the Jets to completely wipe out and start all over again from the beginning. Almost.
Listen, for what they're doing right now, it's not like they were even close in the game. I think their point differential is 57 or 58 points, something like that.
It might be. It's got to be at least that because, I mean, they got killed 36-7 this week. So
it is the biggest in the league right now as we speak. All right. So no matter what happens, you have nothing. You're not going to be wrong if you now try to fucking, restart everything over again. I don't blame him. I would.
I'm just saying. I mean, I love Bieniemy. I think Bieniemy is that kind of coach. I think being in the Andy Reid system is good. I think he's done a nice job with that offense. He's obviously got to give him credit for Mahomes and all that. I think Bieniemy should be a guy they should look at, no doubt. Now the question is, he comes in and you have 2 bad years. Are you switching out to the GM again? It's to me. I'm saying if you're going to start from scratch, if I'm the Johnsons, I'm thinking about maybe wiping out and coming out with somebody and starting all new from scratch.
Okay, so right off the bat, Matt, you, and myself at different times, and including tonight, have all said they should go after Bieniemy. Okay, Last year I had said I would have liked to have seen them go after Mike McCarthy. They didn't. They went after Adam Gase. So here's a question for you: do you think that they should have, on hindsight, went after Mike McCarthy? Would this have been a better team, a different team with Mike McCarthy?
No.
And if they go after Bieniemy, and this team does not win with Bieniemy, okay, and a new quarterback, Tom, what do you do? What do you possibly do knowing that, where do you go from here? Where do you go from here? Most of the league has got to think that hiring Gase was almost like a joke. Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah,
hired this guy. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Second, if you go after Bieniemy, who's the next high pro? You're going to end up having to fucking hire a coach out of high school because nobody's going to want this job.
Well, that's the bigger problem, Jeff. That's where you're right. After a while, and these serious candidates won't want to be here because it's a joke. It's like playing for the Mets. Nobody wants to play there. Nobody wants to take that up to the last couple of years. Now they've turned it around a little bit. And now they got new ownership, but it's the same thing here. After a while, let's take the Knicks. There's the better example. No free agent wants to go play for the Knicks because their entire organization is a joke. And the problem is, I don't know where you go. Listen, Mike McCarthy has not done a great job in Dallas. And if Matt's still listening, I don't know how Matt feels at this point, but the Cowboys have not been a good defensive team right now. Offensively, they've been okay, but this is not a top-notch Cowboy team, and I don't think Mike McCarthy has made this team any better than they were with Jason Garrett.
Well, I still think that if Mike McCarthy came over here, he would have gotten more out of this team than Adam Gase.
Well, you're probably right.
When Adam Gase's big thing is to say that, look what he did in Denver with Peyton Manning, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Come on, man. It's Peyton Manning, bro. It's like saying, you know what? Look what I did with Tom Brady. I went to Tampa. Look what I did. It's impossible. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get it. No, listen, I absolutely get it. And again, guys, Hard Rocket Sports here. We're here every Thursday night, 7 to 9:30, 10 o'clock. We're here Sunday mornings now from 9 to 10, breaking down all the biggest news around the game. You can check us out every Sunday morning. Let me comment. I don't know what does LWT mean? Let me comment.
I guarantee you, he's all excited because
he's a big Cowboy fan. Yeah,
he's all excited, and he's probably
staring at his
cats when they're like arguing and they're like going like this. Probably him right now, going completely mental.
Yeah,
before we get too far. But
yeah, guys, this Sunday mornings, make sure it's the NFL. That's our Sunday morning football show. I believe the Cowboys' defense of the new scheme and young defensive players will make the season has played has affected on the way they are playing. Yeah, they suck. However you want to say it, Matt. I don't care what excuse you want to make. They suck. Their defense is terrible. I expected better out of that team this year, and they're 1-2. And had they not played the Falcons and anybody else in that situation, they'd be 0-3 right now. You know, the NFC East is a joke right now, Jeff. That's where I was headed next.
Allow me to please address Matt, if you
please.
Thank you, Matthew. Please, if I may. You have
the glasses are off. Hold on,
because this is serious shit.
Okay,
you don't understand who you're talking to. You're talking to Tommy. I have proof about how bad the Giants suck, but yet they're still a playoff caliber team.
That's right.
Go do things. They're going to go places. You have no chance explaining yourself with the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy. They could get fucking Roger Staubach, and he'll still find something wrong with it.
Next week, Matt can come on here, and he can tell me how good his defense was supposed to be. But this week, I want to tell you that I think the NFC East is a complete joke. I mean,
it is a complete joke.
The Eagles are a joke. I don't know why Peterson still has that job. Wentz is soft and is overrated. The Skins are building. I don't like their offense. The defensive line is good. I don't know. I don't like Haskins. I just don't. The Cowboys again. Overrated defensively this year. They should be good offensively. Dak's serviceable. Please, dear God, Jeff, don't let them give. Don't give him $40 million a year, Matt. You can't do it. He's a good quarterback. He's a serviceable guy. You put some players around him, and he'll do enough. But you're going to sink $40 million into that payroll, and you won't be able to put a team around him, and that team will sink fast. And you know what? There's a reason Mike McCarthy didn't have a job last year, and I said that before the season.
This is why I disagree with what you're saying, Tom. Although I understand what you're saying. The thing is that these football minds think completely different. Okay? They want to lock up the quarterback because, God forbid, the last thing that happens is the Redskins or the Giants or the Eagles snatch up Dak Prescott. Now, maybe you don't like Dak Prescott, and that's fine. But there's going to be somebody else in the league that's going to say, you know what? We could give him $40 million this year, and it's going to be high. But in 2 years, when a quarterback is getting $45 million or $47.5 million, he's going to be a bargain at $40 million. Sign him.
You know, Jeff,
there's Raul.
I get that on the Patrick Mahomes, the guy who is that kind of player. I get it. I don't like $50 million. I don't like $40 million for a player. I don't like $30 million for these guys. But I can understand when you're paying a guy like that. But a guy like Prescott, who is nothing more than a game manager, and I'm sorry, I don't know if Matt feels the same way. Hey, Raul, how are you, sir? We say Redskins here. We don't say Washington football team, right, Jeff? Your friend Raul says Redskins.
Yeah, the Redskins are a team that used to play in Washington, but they still do.
They still do. On this show, they are the Washington Redskins.
The Washington Redskins, baby.
Now, I held the Giants off. Hey, Raul, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by and checking us out. Jeff, I want to get to the Giants. I know you're eager. I'm good. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go ahead and tear it apart early? He's sweating. He's nervous. He's been telling me this all week long. I'm gonna rip apart your Giants. I'm gonna rip apart your Giants. I want you to rip apart the Giants. I'm going to do my best, and then we're going to go back to the NFC East a little bit before we move on to the rest of the league.
How are we going to do this? Because I got some stuff that I want to read here, just tidbits. You want me to go first?
Go ahead, help yourself.
Okay, let me get the light on so I can see this shit. All right. First, let's start with Daniel Jones. 10 career games with 2 turnovers or more a game. He's only played 16 games in his career. Okay? The Giants are not going to go any place with this kid as quarterback. Not good. First quarter fumble gives him 20 fumbles in his first 16 career games. Okay? That's horrendous.
Rule. That's why he didn't want to play. He didn't want to jam with you this week because he's been writing notes all week. That's why he did this.
Okay, only player with more turnovers during the Super Bowl era is Tony Banks with 21. He's on pace for 32 turnovers himself. The 36-9 loss was the 7th 0-2 start in the last 8 years for the Giants. Okay, they have faded into irrelevance before the Yankee season is over once again. Gettleman has been Giants GM for 1,004 days at the time of writing this. He is 9-27. Okay, only the Bengals have less wins. This means the Browns and the Jets have actually won more games than the Giants in the same span. The rushing attack so far this year is averaging 26 yards a game. 26 yards a game. That was, at that time, that included Barkley. But what was Barkley getting? Like, I don't know, 3 feet a game or something like that. If that. Okay. My question to you is, you want to talk about the Jets having a bad quarterback. The Giants may have a bad quarterback. The Giants may have to worry about what happens with Barkley. Is he coming back? Is he going to be half the player that he was? Meaning, is he going to get 14 yards a game instead of 28 yards a game? When is Gettleman getting fired, bro? If I was a Giants owner, at sunset, I'd bring him out to the 50-yard line and blow his head off his shoulders and videotape it and send it. It's Eli is a great quarterback. Eli's not even in the fucking league, bro.
Let me know when you're done.
Guys don't play football, bro.
I'm letting you finish. You can go all you want. Keep going. Tell me when you're done, and I will rebut you.
But rebut me how?
Just tell me when you're done. Just let me know when you're done, and then I will do mine. I don't have any notes. See this? I have pages and pages of notes.
I don't care, dude. This is the only thing I need. Okay.
I don't need to. And that one note on the Giants on it because I don't need.
Your quarterback is on pace for 32 fucking turnovers for the year. Okay, your general manager is 9-27. 9-27. In the same span, the New York Jets have actually won more games.
Okay. Just tell me when you're done. Are you done?
I'm Tony Banks. Who the fuck is Tony Banks?
You just repeat yourself.
You question. Tony Banks. Okay. He's the only player with more turnovers in the same game span as
you didn't mention that my boy Danny Dimes had four games of 4 TDs and no interceptions last year. No rookie ever had it.
Tom, God, he was playing McKee.
He's playing. All right. So now it's my turn. Listen, now it's my turn. Okay, you've repeated yourself. Put your glasses off. Sit down. Get ready. Okay. Yes, Tony Banks. Yeah, he was the center square at the Hollywood Banks. She was the quarterback. Yes. So here it goes.
He was the quarterback for the Ravens a long time ago.
Matt knows. Let me tell you something. Never question Matt. He's a cowboy. He's a cowgirl fan. I get it, but he's as good as it gets when it comes to football. Here's my take on the Giants.
Okay, please.
Okay. All right. First, I'm gonna start with last week's game because I was very disappointed. I was extremely. I thought that was a game that the Giants, playing the basic second string of the 49ers, came out and were nowhere to be found. They were horrendous, top to bottom. Coaching was bad. First time I caught Judge in a 2-minute situation, he completely blew it. Okay, if anybody has a chance, by the way, do me a favor, guys, share the show out there. Get us out to everybody because, I don't like going to work every day. I want to do this for a living. Yes, I was disappointed because Charles.
Charles Barkley.
Listen, Judge completely blew the 2-minute drill before the half. I have no problem. He went for a 4th and 1 from his 30-something yard line. The guy was trying to make something happen. If you're a pro team and you can't quarterback sneak for 1 yard, you got serious issues to begin with.
Real quick,
yeah.
I did not see that.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just rehash that play real quick so everybody knows what
it was 4th and 1 from their own 30-something. I think midway through the third quarter.
So it was the second half of the game.
Second half of the game, they were down 23-9. They were just starting to move the ball a little bit. I think Jones had just ran for like 14 or a 15-yard gain on the drive on the series before, not on the series before, on the. Yeah, a couple plays before that, 4th and 1, and he just felt like he had to make something happen. And
but he tried. That was the point. He tried.
Yeah. So
I have no problem with that either.
Yeah, again, I'm all for and again, listen, if you're up 6 points in the third quarter and you're going from your own end of the field, I'm going to reach through the screen and choke you. But if you're going for it in a situation where you're trying to make something happen, you're already down 2 touchdowns. I got no issue with that. So I'll cut him. But his handling of the 2-minute drill prior to halftime, when the Giants were down, I think 3 points at that point, was horrendous, and that bothers me. Because if you're a football coach and you can't just run around out there and call plays, and then if the head coach manage the game, you should not be in football. Because I don't care if you've been a head coach ever, Jeff. If you stood on I can sit in my house and run a 2-minute drill. And I'm sorry, I'll tell you flat out, you should be able to sit in your house and go, okay, this is what you do. They had like 20-something seconds before the half, before the 2 minutes. There was second down or first down, and they should have called a timeout, saved that time. They didn't. They let the clock run out for the 2 minutes. Then they allowed the Niners to run the ball out to 1:12 left before they called the timeout. Then they wound up getting the ball back and giving it back with no time on the clock. I'm sorry. It was a bad job by Joe Judge in that spot. The Giant team just did not show up to play football. Terrible job by the Giants. And
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Matt, you know what? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why Matt's right. Because here's what. I'm watching they're not running the football. So you're not running the football. The team are on their heels.
Because their fucking running back is injured.
Not even that. No, let me tell you something. I don't care if it was O.J. Simpson, Barry Sanders. They're getting hit in the back. Every play is getting run up in the backfield. I don't care
why that is, don't you? You know why that is?
Not blocking.
Yeah, that's because Gettleman and his hog mollies are hogwash. They ain't doing dick.
Again, you're putting together an offensive line in a season where you had no time to prepare. I'm going to cut it some slack to a certain extent. But if your
offensive line has been bad for years.
No, I get that, but
years.
But Jeff, if you're
Eric Flowers, who used to be the Giants, the Giants is on like his 17th team.
Yeah,
last 3 years.
Again, my problem is if you're Jason Garrett and they're stacking, do me a favor. Try to at least stretch the field. Get them at least to think that you might throw the ball deep. Right now, they're playing 8 men in the box. They're playing bump and run on the corners, and the Giants are trying to throw and nothing but slants and outs. Nothing but slants and outs.
All they got.
I got it. But if you don't stretch the field and you don't get them to think behind a little bit, it's never going to happen. And they're not running the football. They can't screen. There's nothing working. And Matt's right. Jason Garrett is unimaginative, and it's been bad. And, the first 2 weeks, I gave them a moral victory. I said they played better. They were right there. They're learning. It'll get there. This week, Jeff, 5 steps back. And I'll tell you that they've dug themselves a hole because now you got to go out to the LA and play the Rams, who I didn't think much of before the season, Jeff. They're playing better.
Yeah, they are playing better, and I don't know where that came from, but they're just a bad team. The Giants, they're a bad team.
Again, I think here's the difference, though. I can look at the Giant football team, and I can find 5 or 6 bright spots. Bradbury as a corner has played great football. Great free agent signing this year. He's done a nice job. I think Blake Martinez has played well.
How old is he?
28, 29.
So you sign somebody who's playing well near the tail end of their career. There's no building there.
It's not the tail end of his career. He's got 3-4 years. This guy did.
29. Come on. On to the next one.
So now, and I'll tell you what, I think the defensive line has played well in the pass rush. They have not been good against the run. They're terrible against the run, which surprises me.
They have put absolutely no pressure.
I think your boy Leonard Williams has 2 sacks already this year.
They were probably in the fucking.
Don't tell me he's had more now than he had in his whole entire Jeff career.
Ooh.
Well,
what the fuck?
I think there's some. I can look around this team. I thought. Other than this game, I think Jones has played really well in his first 2 games. He's had his moments when he's made bad mistakes, but he's played pretty well. And I'm not giving up on Jones. I think Jones is going to be a good player.
That Daniel Jones,
yes,
from game 1 of this season, has gotten progressively worse.
No, I think he took a big step off the ledge this week. But his first 2 games, he was not the problem in the first 2 games. They couldn't run the football, and they can't get off the field on 3rd down all year, and especially this year. I don't think the other team could travel without a punter, and they'd be okay.
Yes, but my point being is that, wow, I forget what I was going to say. See, that's those late 80s, early 90s coming back to haunt.
Oh, yeah. Hard Rocket Sports guys, Jeff and Tom, talking football. We got another hour and change. We got plenty coming up. Don't forget, next week, Ron Keel from the band Keel joins Jeff and I. Who have the week after that. Rick Rule from the band Every Mother's Nightmare. Ross the Boss, and then Jeff Westlake from our good friends over at RFL Records. Jeff pops in to promote the new Hydrogen album. We got plenty of stuff coming up tonight. We still got we're going to go around the league, talk about all last week's games. I want to get a little AC/DC's back, I think. Iron Maiden's got some stuff going on. So we got plenty to talk to. We're going to finish up the Jets and the Giants and go around the football league in a minute. Guys, if you want to pop in, the radio line is open, 347-826-99-3 and 4. If you want to call in, you can.
You have your pick?
I do have my pick. Yep, I do. By the way, congratulations. You're 3-0. You
Actually, I lost last week.
No, you had the Bills, and they were getting 2. They were given 2 points. They won by 3.
I thought they were given 6.5. I think.
No, I haven't.
Look again. I think I lost by a point.
No. I have the line from last week. Last Thursday, Bills 2 over the Rams.
Okay, well then, you want to do our picks now?
Sure, go ahead. You want to go first? I'll let you go first.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'm taking I'm taking a team that I bet you probably wouldn't think I'd take this pick, but I feel as though that I got to take this pick for a lot of reasons. One, I'm taking the Ravens, giving 14 to Washington. Okay. One, I'm taking the Ravens because I think that after last Monday, when they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, they got fucking pissed off and agitated, and I think they're going to take it all out on Washington. Okay, I think that this is a team that could definitely cover 14 against a team like Washington. I know Washington has some, good defensive players and everything else, but I think the Ravens need to make a statement here that they need to show that they're going to be 3-1 and in the mix at the end of the season. So I'm going to say Ravens giving 14 over the Washington Redskins.
Well, it's a good pick, Jeff, and a great thought process. Guys, make sure if you're out there, you're listening, make sure you share the show. Coming up in maybe next week, I had some technical difficulties, but I did a really good interview with a great guy in Marcus Scott. He did some other ones, and basically what he told me has been out there in blabbermouth. The bottom line is this: I love Mark. He's a great guy, and I hope he gets past what's going on with him and the rest of the guys at Trickster, and he gets out there and does his thing. Good man, and go to marcuscott.com and catch up with where Mark's up to. But I should have that interview carved up and ready. Hopefully next week we rent to some. Hey, there he is. Mark's out there. We're just talking about him. What's up, Mark? How you doing, brother? And so anyway, keep your eyes out there. Go to hardrocketsports.com. And we got lots of guests again. Remember, Ron Keel next week. Ross the Boss is coming up. Rick Rule from Every Mother's Nightmare. And who knows? I'm always reaching out. We'll see how it goes. So if you're out there and you're listening, we're here at Hard Rocket Sports, Jeff and Tom. And remember, Sunday morning, 9 a.m., the Hard Rocket Sports Sunday morning football show. You get me for sure, and maybe Jeff. We'll see how that goes. Jeff, I loved your pick. I went, I'm in such a rut. I'm 0-3 this year. I'm kind of like your Jets and Giants. So I had to go. Yo, Mark, how you doing, brother? I went with the Bengals. I feel like they're on the cusp of winning. Burrow,
they had a tie.
Huh?
They had a tie. They came close.
Yeah, they just, it's just one of those things that I think they just need to learn how to win. And they're playing the Jaguars. They're home. I think the Bengals get on the board this week. They're given 3 points. I'm taking the Bengals, and I think they're going to get their first W. Joe Burrow is hating every second of losing, Jeff, and I think they'll pull it out this week. So Jeff's going with the Ravens, giving 14, and I'm taking the Bengals, giving 3 to the Jags at home. So, but Jeff, let's stay. We're going to do a couple more minutes of football, then we're going to get to AC/DC, Maiden. We'll come back with some more stuff after that. So, guys, stick around. We got a long time to go. And Jeff, next Saturday, the quasi Hard Rocket Sports / Sacrifice band gets back together in the studio.
Yeah. I'm after the videos and everything else that we're going back and forth. I'm looking forward to this. Yes. This is great, man.
So,
I'm looking for. Let me ask you something. Maybe I shouldn't even say this on the air because the wrong people. This information to get to the wrong people.
Go ahead.
You sent out a set list, and I noticed a song was missing off of it.
What song?
Mama Kin.
Oh, just a mistake. I'm sorry.
Nobody said anything. Nobody brought it up.
Yeah, well, that's probably because nobody opened it up. Much like Mark, our band doesn't really communicate very well. So I put out this set list, and I'm wish somebody would have picked up on it before I put it out there.
As soon as I saw it, because I'm still in the process of trying to attempt to learning it.
The only song I'm having a hard time with is "Flirting with Disaster." I got the parts. It's just putting it all together right now for me.
Matt is picking the Jets in tonight's game. What happened? Did the other team get COVID? They didn't show up? What?
The Broncos plane derailed. They won't be showing up tonight.
Fucking runway.
The tires blew out. They got a rash of COVID. Speaking of that, Jeff. So first time the COVID has snuck into the NFL this year and postponed the. I'll give you the one. So it's postponed the Titans Steelers game.
Yes.
Possibly to Monday or Tuesday night.
Yes,
could you imagine Tuesday night football?
Mm-hmm. I saw that earlier. I was listening to ESPN and I heard that, and then I seen it on the computer somewhere.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, so if you're the Steelers and the Titans, you got to play Tuesday and then come back and play Sunday.
Well, here's my question.
Sunday, Thursday.
Here's my question. Okay?
Yeah.
How is it that if they all have COVID on Sunday, that they can't play Sunday, but yet they can play Monday night or Tuesday night?
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think what they're doing right now is making sure that other players don't. I think they have to have a couple of you have to have a couple of different tests and have them pass those tests before they'll allow them the rest of the team to play. So it's not a question. Those guys, I think, are out for a week or 2 weeks.
My other question is simply this. Okay, they're talking about, and I don't want to get too far off of football with this, but they're talking about spikes and everything else with this COVID bullshit. But yet I don't hear of anybody, the hospitals being overrun and people being on ventilators like they were the last time, and shortage of PPE and all of this other shit. But yet people still get COVID. Last time we heard there was a couple people that had tests done, but they were asymptomatic. It's like, when is it just going to stop? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, Jeff. Yeah, I think November 4th it stops, but that's
sick of these people, and God fucking forbid November 4th comes and it stops. I want every fucking person that says they're a politician investigated.
I agree with you, but here's the thing. People are overdoing it, and I'm sorry to say that. I know people. Did you see last week they had a woman? She was, I think it was like maybe an 18, 19-year-old woman. I want to say she was outdoors at a high school game, and they asked her to put on a mask, and she refused. They tased her
Yes, I know.
And dragged her off the field. I mean, is that really how we live today? That you're sitting outdoors and you need to wear a mask? I mean, I heard somebody say today, well, if they ask you to wear a mask while you're walking around, what's the big deal? Here's the big deal. I don't want to do it. If you're afraid, stay in your house, close the windows and plastic the bubble yourself in. I ain't wearing a mask outdoors.
Yeah, we are now being forced to wear masks for those that are afraid. Okay, that's why I asked the people in the NFL that are facing dealing with COVID right now. Mm-hmm. How bad do they have it? Are they people that just received a positive test?
Yes, that's all it is. I don't think they even have symptoms
in the bed. They don't even have symptoms.
I think I think they do the test not normally, and the test came up positive. I don't believe any of them were even sick.
Wow. So I mean, and they're making it sound like okay, these people are sick. So they tested positive for it.
Yeah.
What's the big deal? I may test positive for fat. I'm fat. You know what I mean? What can I tell you?
Again, I have no problem. You want to test them and you want to pull them off the field and all that. But it's just overdone. You know what? Let's get on in life and move on. People are getting it more because they're testing more. Nobody's going in the hospital anymore. People aren't dying at the rate they were. And the people who are dying from it were probably dying from something else. And I'm sorry to say that. I really mean that. It's just ridiculous at this point.
It's 100% true. Everything you're saying is 100% true. It's not like you're saying something that's not.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I get it. But here's the thing, Jeff. Do you know during the I think it was the last 4 or 5 years of the Obama administration, 305,000 veterans died. Nobody went crazy. Nobody went nuts.
No, of course not.
305,000 veterans died during that time, and nobody went crazy.
Listen, dude, this whole virus thing is bullshit. It's all bullshit. Okay? Like
Matt.
If they're testing more people and more people are coming up positive because they're testing more people.
Yeah, of course.
So why are you testing people in the first place? Are they actually saying, you know what, I got symptoms, I don't feel good, I got a fever, this, that, and the other?
No.
Or they're just like, you know what, I want to get tested. Okay, let's test you. Bang, you got it. You have COVID. Oh shit, I didn't even know.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it is people getting tested before they go go have certain medical procedures. They have to be tested.
Yes.
I think there are still people now who I'm curious to know if there's still lines of people who are driving to places to get testing done. I bet you it's not.
Here's something that I didn't say. I was at work the other day.
Yeah.
Okay? Do you know where Schmuel Park is by any chance?
Sure.
Okay. We're doing the ball fields at Schmuel Park. Okay.
About time somebody did.
Yeah. Well, the field was done over again and everything else. But listen, long story short, who cares about the field? Okay. So there's a couple of tents there. So I'm like, oh, look at this bullshit. There's somebody camped out here. Not like, tents like for party tents.
Okay.
I'm like, this guys must have a team here. They're going to start playing and this, that, and the other thing. So we didn't know what it was. We went about our business and we had to go back there the next day. And finally, we seen a sign up for free COVID testing. They were doing COVID testing at Schmuel Park on the ball field, all the way at the bottom of a dead-end street where nobody was even going to see it. Okay? And they had these people all day long performing tests. While we were there, I didn't see anybody even come down for a test. But like, why are you doing it here?
Yeah.
I saw them testing at the Staten Island Psychiatric Center. I see everybody by the front gate. Nobody's going in. Walgreens by my house. They're doing testing at Walgreens by my house. The guy's walking around the parking lot kicking Q-tips because he got nothing else to do. Nobody's coming in there for these tests.
I think, Jeff, there's a handful of people out there who are adhering to all of this stuff. I think most people have moved on. And I think the honest truth is, I think the only people who are still playing in the COVID game are the pharmaceutical companies and the politicians.
Unfortunately, yeah, I believe that you'd be right there, man.
Yeah, I think most people will go into a store or a restaurant and not wear a mask. I see it all day long. But I think, you walk into most restaurants or most stores and they ask you to put on a mask, or you do. And I get why they do. They get in trouble if you don't. But,
I don't understand. I do not understand. And if somebody else could give me the fucking answer, please, I'd love to. I'd love it. You could walk into any restaurant, outdoor dining right now, okay? And today in New York, actually yesterday in New York, they started indoor dining at 20%, okay? You need a mask on when you walk into either one of these two scenarios, okay? We know that.
Yeah.
Okay, but in the outdoor dining, you sit down, you can take the mask off. If you stand up, you got to put the mask on.
Yes.
If you go indoors, you must come in with the mask. I don't know if you have to wear the mask while you're at the table.
You don't.
Oh,
You don't.
so once you sit at the table, you can take the mask off.
That's correct.
Eat your food, but when you go to get up, you need to have the mask on again.
That's correct.
Okay. Is COVID hang in the air at like between the 4 foot to 6.5 foot level? Is that it?
Yes. Yes, that is the it only stays in your table, and when you get up, it hangs below.
So if you're 7 feet tall, you're above the COVID line.
I believe so.
And if you're 4 feet or less, because that's why younger kids don't have to wear the masks.
Correct.
You're below the COVID line.
You know, Jeff, that's just as logical as everything else they're telling you. That's just as logical as anything else I'm hearing, and I'm tired of it. Let me honest with you. Yeah, I'm tired of it. Listen, I don't want to be what's the right word? I don't want to be compassionate. I want to be empathetic. I understand there are people out there who are older or have some conditions, and they should be very careful of. But hey, Tony Gunn. But here's the problem I have, Jeff. Why are the rest of us being punished for that?
I don't know, Tom. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I get it. I do. You know, now I'm listening to, you know, and let's not get too political. I really don't want. I want to get back to sports, but
I'm not going to let you get political tonight. Not after that fucking stupid ass fucking debate. Where two fucking idiots argued with one another like 2-5.
Yeah, I listen. Even that, Jeff, I'm a huge Trump guy. You know, I was disappointed. I thought Trump had a lot of good things he said. He just blurted over it because he didn't shut up. His best moment in the whole thing, he did a great job. He asked Joe Biden a question, and he said, "Joe, just tell me name one law organization that is endorsing you. I'll wait." And he stopped, and Biden had to put his head down. It doesn't matter. He was perfect, and it was the only one. The rest of the night, I have to tell you, I was disappointed. I love Trump. He said a bunch of great things. Nobody heard it because he just didn't shut up.
Well, listen, let's take 1 second here because I don't want to talk about it because it's sick. Okay, but I will say this much: all Biden did was kept saying, "Well, he doesn't have a plan." What about COVID? Well, he don't have a plan. How about open up the economy? He don't have a plan. How about this? He don't have a plan. Okay, so you're saying that he don't have a plan, and it doesn't really matter what Trump was saying because Trump just never waited for his chance to talk and just talked over everything.
Yep.
And a couple people, more than one person, said that they should put him in soundproof boots, turn the microphones off, and let them fog up the glass. For all I give a fuck.
I listen. I'm with it. I think Trump's the best thing he could have done was let Joe Biden talk because the more he talked, the less he said. They flat out asked him, "Joe, who's your Supreme Court pick?" "I'm not going to tell you." "What do you mean you're not going to tell us? You got to tell us." "Would you pack the court?" "I'm not going to tell you." "Joe, what's your plan for COVID?" "Well, Donald Trump." No. What's your plan? Do you agree with the agree? He didn't say a word, and Trump let him get away with it. That was the problem for the debate. Biden said nothing, but nobody know he didn't say it because Trump didn't shut up long enough for people to realize it. That's the problem.
I only watched about 10, 15 minutes of it. And
I watched the whole thing.
For the most part, when Trump started to go off, I noticed Biden just backed away and just made a face. So it's like, no, I'm paying it. What can I tell you? And you know what? Right now, I don't know what's going to happen in November. Nobody knows what's going to happen in November. No. But I'll tell you this much. Maybe these guys should turn around and just say, we did our fucking debate. Well, let's just bypass the other two because we ain't getting nothing out of it.
Again, you're not wrong. I mean, I think they will. Tony, you're 100% right. But listen, anybody who's fooled by the fact that Joe Biden did well, listen, he didn't do well.
The guy you could see, he looked older by the end of the debate.
Oh, yeah.
He looked horrible.
Yeah.
He looks like he's getting older by the second.
Yeah, 100%. He's terrible. Nobody's fooled by it. It's just Trump did not give him to give him 30 seconds to look stupid, and that's where Trump messed up. Now, Jeff, there's a lot of talk. People don't want them to do it. Biden's already said he will. They're supposed to change the rules. I think they're gonna shut mics off and on, which I'm all for. Do I want to see another debate? Yes, I think Trump could do a better job, and I think Biden will look even dumber if he's allowed to talk. If they don't do it, I'll say this last time. I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't think anybody is going to hear anything different that's going to make them change their mind. You're not going. If you haven't made up your mind by now, you're probably not going to hear anything that's going to change your mind.
No, I hear you. I agree.
That's just.
I don't think you're going to sway. Actually,
no.
You may get people to change their mind only because they may piss people off.
Correct.
With their actions, but I don't think that you're going to get anybody that's a Biden fan and switch to Trump and vice versa.
No, again, the only thing, if you're Trump, he has to pray that they shut his mic off and let Biden talk. If they both do the same thing again, you're going to go to November, and it's just a matter of how many people show up. That's all. Let's get off the. Let's talk about AC/DC.
Yes, I was going to ask you what is going on with AC/DC.
Well, it seems like Cliff Williams is back, although I had heard that he was done after the last one. Now, maybe with and Brian Johnson's back. Phil Rudd's behind the pit, which I didn't know.
Phil Rudd's not in jail at this point in time.
He's not threatened to kill anybody today, Jeff.
No, not yet.
Well, I didn't realize this, that Phil Rudd has been on 12 of the 15 studio albums for AC/DC. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess so. He's been the drummer for a while, bro.
Yeah, I didn't remember that but so yeah, that looks like they've been together doing some stuff. I hear that they have some old Malcolm Young stuff that they used for the album, but Stevie Young, his nephew, will be playing live and did a lot of the studio work. But yeah, it looks like AC/DC's back with I guess you could say 3/5 of the original band, 4/5.
Well, I didn't they have another bass player?
That's a good. I don't know. I tell you, to me, I all I can remember is Cliff Williams. To be honest with you,
I don't know. They're trying to look it up now. I think they had another bass player at one point in time. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing. Their last album was called Play Ball, I believe it was. Yeah.
Dale Evans.
That same sounds familiar.
Mark Evans.
I don't know. It sounds
Mark Evans was he was in AC/DC from 75 to 77.
That don't really count, I guess.
Dave Evans.
Dave Evans?
No, he sang. Simon Wright was a drummer. Axl Rose. Yeah, just Mark Evans.
Okay, so
I knew it was somebody else.
So Cliff Williams has basically been the bass player for most of the let's call it the big years, right? Would you say?
Well, considering the other guy was there for the first 2 years, from 75 to 77.
Yeah. So you know, so now you got. I mean, who do we count as the original drummer? Who is if we were picking the big lineup of AC/DC, the other 3 or 4 are easy. Who do we consider the drummer for AC/DC?
It's got to be Phil Rudd.
Right. So AC/DC's out there now with 4/5 of basically the main band. If AC/DC is going into the Hall of Fame, is AC/DC Hall of Fame band?
I think just for longevity.
Well, I mean,
they've had 50 years, dude.
Well, think about it. They've had some big hits with 2 different singers. All right, they've had some especially that early '80s stuff with Back in Black and Those About to Rock, and I think it's definitely worthy of a conversation.
I think it has to be, man. It has to be, just like I said, longevity. AC/DC, you got 2 different style bands, 2 different kind of bands out of AC/DC because of the different singers. The stuff with Brian Johnson is definitely a little bit more complex than the stuff with Bon Scott was. So, I mean, I have no problem, putting these guys into the. Well, first of all, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a farce, but I have no problem with AC/DC getting in there.
No, not in the side. Donald Jeff had a big, looks like about a 45-yard touchdown run in the Jet game. Really, I mean, Very athletic run here. You'll see the highlights of it later on. But, here's the thing. The one thing I'll knock, you have to have that longevity's got to be there. Album sales has got to be there. I'm curious. I'd have to look up to see how many albums they've sold. And then influence. Now, here's the thing. I don't think there's anybody out there who could actually say they were influenced by AC/DC because their style is so unique to a certain extent with Brian Johnson singing that I think that I can't think of too many bands that I would say remind me of them.
No, they're kind of unique to me. Everything that they've done, everything that they do, that bluesy type music that they have, everything is kind of based on a bluesy type stuff. The vocals, I mean, does anybody really want to sing like Brian Johnson? Does anybody really want to sound like Bon Scott? Or is it just that these two singers and band collided at the right time? Nobody's going to ever say that Bon Scott's one of the greatest singers. They may say he's a great frontman. Yeah. But they're never going to confuse him with a Rob Halford or Ronnie James Dio.
One of the most unique and recognizable voices of all time. I would not say one of the hardest to duplicate. Jeff, could it be possible they've only sold 22 million? I say only 22 million albums.
I guess
that's what I see here. No, I'm sorry. Back in Black alone sold 22 million copies, 50 million worldwide. They've sold over 200 million albums.
It's a lot of records.
To me, that they've been doing it for almost 40 years or over 40 years now. They're got pretty much the same band still rolling around out there. 200 million album sales. To me, I don't know how they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Jeff.
Yeah, I can see how they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, because Rock and Roll Hall of Fame sucks.
Yeah, and because their rock and roll and their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame sucks too. That's exactly right.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame doesn't put rock and rollers in there.
Put in Run DMC or fucking Conway Twitty or something like that.
I'll give you another one. Where do you rank Angus Young in the lore of guitar players? I have my top 5, my top 10. Where would you put an Angus Young in the Jeff Tomlinski guitar players?
I don't know.
That's a tough one, right? Because you think about him, he's different. I don't know. I've ever considered him to be a great guitar player. But, and I've never heard anybody say Angus is my guy. Not to say that he's not nobody out there, but when you've sold 200 million albums, what do you think?
Well, I would think if you were making up a list of top 10, he might not be on it.
He would definitely not make my top 10.
Of top 10, 15, 20, he might not make it. But if you start getting into 25 to 50, he should be on it. In my estimation.
Yeah, again, I've never really gone past 5. I don't think I've ever had more than a top 5 guitar player list, so I have to think about it. I think he might get into my top 20, a top 15 maybe, but he would definitely not pop into mine early on. I think, so the bottom line is they're getting back together. There's a new album coming out called Power Up. And the last album wasn't bad. It was a decent album, but like everybody else, one good song, and then a so-so album.
Yeah, that's the shame of it, man. It's kind of hard to say because everybody gets stuck on the one song that they start showing, giving everybody and shoving everybody's throats. That you never really want to hear the other stuff. That it's like, all right, I heard enough of that. Let's go on to the next thing.
True.
But, now, what is the point of them putting out an album now? You don't know when they're going to be able to perform live. People may be sick of that album by the time they even get the chance to play it live.
See, I think with AC/DC, though, Jeff, I think that's one of those bands, and it may be for me because I've thought about it, too. I've never seen AC/DC live. So I said to myself, well, Brian Johnson's back, and Angus is still running around in the ridiculous school kid outfit. Maybe I got to take a run to see them before it's too late. So, they may get one more good run. They're talking about, they were talking about they canceled the stadium tour. They didn't cancel arena tour. They canceled a stadium tour. They were going out to do stadiums, Jeff.
Well, I could see that. I could
Yeah.
definitely see them. You know, they may be the last band out there now that could do a stadium tour.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Who could see? I think Maiden could do one in the States, but a short one. They couldn't do everywhere. It'd be like 8 cities. But other than that, I think Guns did it. I'm not a fan of them, but I think Guns went out and did the stadium shit, didn't they?
I'm sure at one time they did, yeah.
No, years ago. I'm talking about the last run with Axl and with the new band, with the old band getting back together, which really was just Duff and Slash and Axl.
I don't think so, Tom. I don't think that they did a stadium tour.
Yeah, you're probably 100% right, Jeff. On that, I think at this point, probably Metallica
would have a problem doing a stadium tour.
Who? Metallica? See, I don't know. I think they could. I think Metallica could. They're not going to do 60 cities. I think they could do 10.
I think they would try to do 60 cities because they're going to try to go out there and milk it for all it's worth.
Again, I think AC/DC, will do it in other countries, and they'll play a couple of big shows here. And again, I think it's the nostalgia of it. I don't know. I think they'll give it a shot. Listen, it's AC/DC. I'm curious at this point to hear Brian Johnson, see what he sounds like, see what he's got left.
I would like to see it. I'm not a big AC/DC guy. One way or another.
No.
I like a lot of their songs. And if I never saw them, I'd be okay. But in this instance, probably by the time they actually go out to tour, would they be hitting their 50th anniversary? Stop, Basil.
Oh,
Are they coming up on their 50th anniversary?
Yeah.
If they are, that alone, I think, is going to sell them a stadium tour.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of bands. I mean, Priest is, I think it was this year. Now, the big rumor is Priest and Maiden going out together next year, I think, which would be a huge around the world. I'm not sure how big here it would be, but, I'll go see Maiden anyway. But if Maiden and Priest are going, I've never seen Priest live, so hey, Basil, I will go and see.
Basil wanted to come on and kept it getting away from me, but there she is, the old one-eyed dog. There she is. Once they put in her 2 cents.
There you go. We'll always take a little something from Basil, and make sure you come back next week. Maybe Basil will be back with Jeff and I on next Thursday night when we welcome Ron Keel to the show. So stick around and make sure you come back next Thursday night. Sunday morning, you'll catch at least me at 9 o'clock doing the Sunday morning Hard Rocket Sports Football Show. So
I would like to make sure that I get on the Sunday show in the morning, but it's so difficult because I'm at work and I'm in uniform, no less. So the last thing I really need is to be spotted that way, giving me picks and stuff. But
I agree with you. So I thought about doing it on Saturdays, but it works better on a Sunday. It's only for an hour. So listen, whatever you got, if you get a break and you can pop in for 5 minutes, you do it. If you can't, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do it anyway. So we'll see. It's fun, but if I don't see a lot of reaction out there from people, then it's not worth doing. But we'll do Thursdays forever because we've been doing them forever. It feels like Jets up 7-0 here in the mid part of the first quarter. Broncos and ripping with the ball midfield.
And fucking Sam Darnold looking like he's Lamar Jackson.
Yes, he did his best Lamar Jackson on that one. But let's get to some other stuff. We'll come back to Maiden later.
Longest scramble for a quarterback in the last 73 years.
Yeah.
Just come on, please.
Hey, let's go around the football league a little. Ooh, boy, they just took a 15-yard penalty for the Jets. Dumb penalty by Anderson, and I'm not sure who 93 is. Can't see the back of his jersey, but it must have took a 3-step run at the quarterback and knocked him to the ground. So 15 yards will be added there over midfield. Jeff, let's run through. Let's start with the game again. Couple big games. First of all, Falcons collapse again, Jeff. 20 points. I got to see a lot of that game. Horrendous. I don't know. I don't know how they let the Bears back into this one.
You've been quiet. And how about this? The Bears, the only team at 3-0 that had a quarterback controversy.
Yeah. Now,
yeah,
it's crazy, but Jeff, I've been saying it all along. How does this guy still have a job? How does Dan Quinn still have a job in Atlanta? I mean, you just came off one of the worst losses in history, blowing a onside kick the way they did, and then you do it this week again, Jeff. I mean, how does he? He's got to have pictures of Arthur Blank and his wife naked somewhere. He's gotta.
I mean, a lot of teams, they may turn around and say, just 2-3 years ago, whatever it is, this guy got us to the Super Bowl. Let him write out this contract. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. You are the only one that I hear any place or see any place so far calling for his job. And I think that you're just doing that is to throw up smoke.
Oh boy, here we go.
Cover
here we go.
The real fucking perpetrator of the crime, which is Mr. Dave Gettleman.
Here we go. Here we go. Just keep deflecting. All right. Well, listen. Well,
here we go. Let's pick on Dan Quinn some more. Go ahead.
Guy's horrendous. First Super Bowl lost 28-3. You lose the Super Bowl. You have just wrecked that organization. You just had two of the before the season. People are picking them to go to the playoffs, and you have two of the worst losses you could possibly have back to back. Oh my God, that guy having a job. If he could coach, I can coach in the NFL. I'm guarantee you I can coach in the NFL right now.
Listen,
right now.
Oh, I'm glad that you have the confidence to say.
Wow, absolutely. If Dan Quinn can be a coach in the NFL, I can be a coach in the NFL.
So that means that I could be a general manager.
Very possible. If Joe Douglas could be a general manager, you could be.
Dave Gettleman could fucking talk
to the Giants. Don't pick on Gettleman, guys. The guy's
9-27 record.
Guy's been to a Super Bowl. That's all I can tell you. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to a Super Bowl.
A Super Bowl. Yeah, he bought tickets.
No, general manager.
Please stop.
All right, let's get around the league a little bit. Let's go quick around the league where they get paid to play. That is, let's start with the Bills. A good comeback win for the Bills, 35-32. The Bills go to 3-0 in the AFC East.
Which will be evidently 3-0 in our little competition this year.
Yes.
And the one thing that I got to point out, this out. I feel like I didn't do my job. The Bills, players of the red, white, and blue, just like the Giants.
Yes.
Two teams that are complete polar opposites of one another.
Yeah, boy. Yeah. Are you done?
No, that's all I needed to say.
That's all you can say. All right. So Bills come from behind. I listen. Josh Allen has really stepped up. Again, it's hard to say I like him as far as those young quarterbacks from that class. Obviously, Lamar Jackson won an MVP last year, so it's hard not to put that ahead. But Bills come back from behind, win the game, beat the Rams, and go this week against the Raiders. And the Rams come up against the Giants this week. Tough game for the Giants, traveling across country. We'll get that on Sunday. Jeff, what could you say? The Bills are living up to the hype so far.
So far, yeah, I would say probably the only team wearing red, white, and blue this year that's actually performing well.
Yeah, 100%. I cannot argue that point. Listen, let's go to the second game. We talked about the half man earlier. His team stumbled, kind of really, let themselves, came back. They had a chance to build, Jeff, on the Saints win. They beat the Saints at home on Monday night. He came out and stumbled all over and got beat 36-20 by the Patriots. A good day. Rex Burkhead had I think almost 100 yards and three touchdowns. Good win for the Patriots, staying close to the Bills, and the Raiders lose an opportunity to build on what they did, Jeff.
I think the Raiders just got lucky with beating Drew Brees, to tell you the truth. I don't see them being a team that's going to, I still think that Gruden wants to pull the plug on Carr. He just can't yet.
Mm-hmm.
He's just playing too good. And I just don't see him being able to do it as of yet. But I think he wants Mariota in there.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. I can't figure that out. I don't, I thought before the season they may make some inroads to go for a different quarterback. I don't think Gruden's been happy with Carr from the beginning. Again, it's a little bit of an up and down season. I think listen, the Saints haven't been great, and a bad loss this week to the the Packers. But again, I would say this. Listen, the Raiders are an up-and-down team. I don't think they're well-built, and I think Gruden's best days are behind him. So I'm not surprised, and I think the Patriots have become an afterthought in the league. Nobody's talking about the Patriots anymore.
Well, I think they're going to fucking fly under the radar for a while, but they near the end, they're going to pop up. They're not done. They're not finished.
No, I don't think. I don't think they're finished, and they may be best kind of lay in the weeds. I think they're a playoff team. I haven't disliked what I saw out of them with Cam Newton, Jeff, but I don't know if they're going to win their division. They'll be in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win the division. I don't see that.
Let's move over to the Tennessee Titans beating the Minnesota Vikings. Gostkowski 6 for 6 on field goals. The defense hasn't been good. Let up 181 yards to Dalvin Cook. Did enough to win this game. The Vikings 0-3, Jeff. A lot of people were picking the Vikings to make the playoffs. Cousins has not been overwhelmingly good. This is a team that's 3-0. They're looking up at 3-0. The Lions seem like they're improved team. Big win for the Lions this week. Jeff, the Minnesota Vikings could be looking up at the rest of the division soon.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, man. They're not doing good. They're not. Is Cousins done? Is he finished over there?
It's a good question. I mean, listen, the Bears are 3-0. I don't know how. They've made the move I don't know if they're sticking with Foles this week. I have not seen that yet, but 3-0. The Packers are playing great. They're probably maybe the best team in football right now. And the Lions have had the opportunity to win 2 games. They pulled one of them out. They're 1-2. And Minnesota, surprisingly, bottom of the division.
Well, it's early, and I really have faith in the Lions to find last place soon and hunker down in there, so to speak. I don't see a Kirk Cousins team staying down for long. They might not make the playoffs, and they may not have a winning record, but I could see them hovering around 500. When it's all said and done, I think that they're going to at least double the amount of Lions wins.
Well, I mean, Jeff, the next 2 weeks, they're on the road in Houston and Seattle. So not easy games coming up for the Vikings, Jeff.
No, I would think Seattle's going to be the tougher game. Houston, they may actually have a chance against Houston.
It's possible. You're right. And a tough game for the Titans. I think they're going to Pittsburgh Sunday. So a tough game for the Titans. I'll tell you a little bit about them. But the defense needs to play better if they're going to keep up with the Steelers. So interesting. So let's talk about the Steelers. Steelers beat the Houston Texans. I had the Texans winning this game. I thought for sure that they would come out of this, but a good day for James Conner. And the Steelers pull out a 28-21 victory. In that division right now, Jeff, you got, let's see, Pittsburgh at 3-0, Baltimore 2-1, Cleveland at 2-1, and Cincinnati 0-2. Houston is at 0-3 in their division in the South. Houston, Jeff, is a big disappointment. And Deshaun Watson, I've heard some rumors about the trades and what's your thought? Do you think Deshaun Watson, who was talking about a new contract, is in a little bit of trouble down there?
Well, I mean, you trade away his best receiver. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, come on. That alone had to put them at least at a loss, at least one loss so far at this point in time. You don't just get away from trade away a receiver like that and make it up. I just don't see it. Watts is getting older. Mm-hmm. So he might not be the spark the defense needs.
No Clowney.
Yeah, no Clowney. And has Clowney done anything for Tennessee yet this year?
Not that I've seen. I haven't watched any Tennessee games yet, but I've watched all the highlights and I have not seen his name.
Well, that's just it. If he was doing good, that they would have.
Exactly. Here's the problem for Bill O'Brien. He's the general manager and he's the coach. It's another disappointing. They managed to make the playoffs most of the time, but then there's no success there. And now this year they're 0-3, and you're looking up. Jeff, you're looking up at this point. Jacksonville's 1-2, Indianapolis is 2-1, and Tennessee's 3-0. you're Bill O'Brien. You can't finish bottom of that division this year, and think you're going to keep your job. So,
No,
Steelers.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I thought Houston had enough of a. This was an urgent game for them, and I thought they would have found a way to come out and beat Donald. Getting completely crushed on a sack. Think he hurt his shoulder. Throwing arm. He's holding it in a bad spot for Donald right here.
Well, listen, we can only hope that he hangs out on the sideline for a while, and they put in whoever it is that they
Flacco. It would be Joe Flacco. He's the back.
Yeah, he's up there picking up the ball, tossing it around.
I haven't shown him yet, but he got slammed to the ground, Donald, right here, which I'm shocked wasn't a penalty. I got to be honest with you. The way they play,
I want to see a player get injured, but in this case, the less the Jets could do, the better off we are in getting rid of fucking Case.
Well, they'll be hurt, but he's still in the game at this point. So let's see what happens. Sore shoulder. Jeff, next game I want to talk to you about real quick is the Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons. We touched on it already. I mean, just a very bad job.
Go on. I got to put my air conditioner on. Go ahead.
Good. So
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Bears. I don't know how they're. Well, no, Donald's out of the game at this point. He's on the sideline holding his shoulder. I don't know who the quarterback on that last play was, if it was Flacco or Donald, but Donald's on the sideline right now, grimacing in pain. Definitely it's at least a bruised shoulder, if not more. We'll see how that plays out, guys. Hard Rockin' Sports, Jeff and Tom.
I didn't know if what's-his-face was even back on the team. I didn't even know he was traveling. I don't think he was cleared to play yet.
Joe Flacco's in the game right now.
Okay, so what do I know?
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't know either. And Donald's holding his shoulder, heading off this field probably to the locker room for X-rays or to get re-examined. Joe Flacco looking sharp, Jeff. It looks like the old Joe Flacco. Bad, just as bad as always. Yeah, that's it. So, guys, we'll move it on here. Let's go on. I'm going to skip the Browns, the Bears game. Listen. Bottom line is this: Dan Quinn still has a job. I don't know how. Foles is somehow reinvented himself again. I mean, the guy was bad before, did a decent job with the Eagles. Wins a Super Bowl in relief. Goes to the Jaguars. Can't start over Gardner Minshew. Goes to the Bears. Can't start over there. Gets in the game and he comes back and has played impressively for 2 weeks. So.
Let me hear Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Okay. I just like saying that guy's name, don't you?
He's an odd looking and an odd sounding guy. How's that?
I never heard him talk, but when you look at him, he definitely looks like he's from the early 70s in a porno movie or something with that stash in the hair. But why doesn't Jacksonville just give this guy a chance? It always seems like they're looking for the next thing.
Yeah. Well, again, sometimes the problem is just, Jeff, it's not the fancy pick. I don't believe he was. I think he was I want to say he was a free agent pickup. I'm not sure about that.
No, I think he was.
Was he drafted?
I think he was drafted, but he was near the bottom of the barrel, I believe.
Yeah. So it's just not the glory. It's not. We didn't draft him number one. He's not. Sam Darnold had a big Rose Bowl game. And you just expect the guy not to play well. And then when he does play well, you're like, this is just, they'll figure him out. And the guy just seems to win football games.
He was picked in the 6th round.
Okay. Where did he go to college?
He played football at East Carolina before transferring to Washington State.
Yeah, not football powerhouses. So
yeah. But I mean, come on, with a name like Gardner Minshew and
the stash. Yeah, listen, I think you're right. I think that instead of maybe realizing he might be their guy and not worrying about going after Trevor Lawrence, I think that they're going to make that mistake. If they are the worst team, which right now they're not, and they're not even close to being the worst team, they will pick Trevor Lawrence. But we'll see. That'll be for later. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns beating the Washington football team, otherwise known here as the Washington Redskins. Suck it, bitch. Suck it, Washington Redskins.
I think that Cleveland had to pull a win out.
Yes, I agree with that.
And they did. Odell fell a little short of my prediction of 100 yards,
Yes.
but he was definitely closer to 100 yards than any Giant receiver.
Oh boy, here we go.
And
Here we go.
I feel as though that the
Here we go.
Cleveland Browns are an extension of the New York Giants because of Odell Beckham Jr.
Here we go. Here we go. You done? Let me know when you're done.
No, nothing.
Oh,
And I just just think it was time, man. They won. If you imagine how much better Jones would be if he had Odell Beckham Jr.
Okay. Cleveland gets the running game going. They didn't do it because of their passing, and they got a running game going. They're a disappointment. But again, listen, a win is a win. They're 2-1. They're 2-1 this week, heading into a big game.
First time being over 500 in like 7,000 years or something. I think they said Tut did the coin flip the last time the Browns were.
Week 15 of the 2014 season was the last time they were over 500.
When was the last time some other teams were over 500?
Let me ask you this question as I skip over yours. Let me ask you this question, Jeff. As Cleveland been
one of the funniest things you've ever said so far tonight.
The first thing you said in the last 3 seconds. Is Cleveland the most disappointing team? Built up expectations, tons of number one picks. Are they the most disappointing team of the last, say, 5 years?
No, I wouldn't say they're the most disappointing season in the team in the last 5 years, but I will say that they're certainly not living up to the hype.
Are they the most overhyped team of the last 5 years?
No.
Who would you put in those two categories? Who would you put in those two categories then? Who are the teams that should have been better, not disappointing, and most over? To me, the most overhyped is the Cowboys. Everybody keeps talking about the Cowboys, and they don't win more than 8 games.
No. I think the most overhyped team could go to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, that's an interesting pick. Okay, I won't argue that one. Okay.
Only because they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they just haven't done anything near close.
Okay.
So to me, I would have to say that you would have to consider them in that position.
Okay, that's it. That's a fair point and a good one. So Cleveland goes out and beats Washington, or the Redskins, as Jeff and I call them here. Rivera's still going to stick with Haskins. I think he's got to stick it out this year with Haskins and see what he's got, Jeff. I think bouncing quarterbacks in that situation where you have no expectations is a dumb move if you're Rivera.
Listen, you have your no preseason. You're in your third game. Okay, you have COVID going on. You got a whole bunch of different things going on.
Right.
You're not anywhere near getting the first pick in the draft as of right now, but you need to know what you have. And this is where I didn't agree with some of the things that the Giants did over the years.
60
to know what
seconds.
you have on your team at certain positions, because you may end up with a high draft pick. Now, say the Giants, for example, they have a quarterback in Daniel Jones.
Right.
But even if he doesn't play good, you got to leave him in. You got to let him play, because say they get the number one pick and they're looking at Trevor Lawrence. Is it something where they say, you know what, they're going to move on from Daniel Jones? It just didn't work out. We feel as though that Trevor Lawrence is a way better option for us.
Right.
So teams like Washington with Haskins, the Jets with Donald, and a few other teams, maybe even established teams, the Steelers, they're going to want to see what their quarterbacks are about this year.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're going to want to look at next year.
It's a fair point. It's a very fair point, especially the bottom.
Seconds.
The teams like the Lions. Teams like there's going to be some teams that are going to look down that way for a quarterback. And you're right, you should know. And I agree. I think if the Redskins are smart, they play Haskins all year and really get to figure out whether he's the guy or not. Now I'll tell you this: you just spent the number 15 pick on him 2 years ago. If you go away from him after this year and you go and you have the number one pick and you wind up with Trevor Lawrence, that's a slap in the mouth to the franchise.
Well, listen, if right now they put such a premium on the quarterback position, that if you think that the answer is staring in front of you in the draft, to take it.
Oh, I agree.
Because the first thing they're going to say is, it's like, let's say use Washington, for example. Okay?
Yep.
and they wind up with the first pick. And now they're looking at Trevor Lawrence, but they have Haskins.
Mhm.
Okay. And then they pick the linebacker from Pennsylvania or Penn State
Yep.
that Matt was talking about earlier.
Yep.
And he ends up a bust. But Trevor Lawrence ends up having a career setting records and just sets the league on fire. You know, you're going to look stupid. So you can't. And not for nothing, I hate to say that this phrase, but the best player available, what happens if the best player available is Trevor Lawrence? And you're going to pick it first or second.
Yeah, then you got to trade. You got to trade yourself out. If you're the worst team, but you think you have your quarterback, and you're number one pick in the draft, Jeff, you have to trade down. You don't take Trevor Lawrence.
Let's say you take Trevor Lawrence with that pick.
Okay.
Okay. And now you announce that you're ready to fucking trade, and you're looking to trade Trevor Lawrence. Do you think that you would get a bigger ransom knowing that you have Trevor Lawrence on your team?
That's a great question.
You know,
Is Trevor Lawrence on your roster worth more than the number one pick in the draft?
well, let's put it this way: number one pick, is Trevor Lawrence worth 3 number ones?
Well, my question though is he worth? If you're let's say just use the Redskins, they have the number one pick in the draft. Is Trevor Lawrence worth more if you pick him and trade him, or if you trade away the pick itself?
I think I would have to say it depends on who would want him and where he could possibly go. You know, if it's a team that, say, like Jacksonville, maybe Jacksonville is willing to give up X amount of draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe it's Pittsburgh. They'll be like, okay, we'll give you this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is the New York Jets with 4 draft picks. Don't forget, they're playing with house money.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, they in essence have 4 number one picks, draft, first round picks.
Yeah,
that they can use as trade bait.
Well, let me ask you this question though: as a Jet fan or as a football fan, are the Jets better served trading all those picks and getting the number one pick in the draft for one player, or keeping it and drafting 4 number one picks?
Their previous drafts have already shown that's not always going to work out as planned for the New York Jets. If you could get Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence is going to be, and once again, we don't know what's going to happen.
No, but let's just say he's going to live up to the hype. Let's say he's going to live up to the hype, just for the sake of saying it.
3 number one picks, okay, and it doesn't matter. You could say the first 2 this year, and your number one pick next year, and keep the Seahawks number one pick.
Okay,
then you could maybe package that with a second rounder and move up. If you feel as though that you don't like the position that Seattle's going to finish in.
Yeah, you figure Seattle's going to be it's going to be a high pick, 27, 28, right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
But there's always ways to maneuver around it. You could always do something. Me, if I'm the Jets, I'm willing to give up the 2 for this year and next year's number one pick to move up to the number 1 slot for Trevor Lawrence.
It's hard to argue it, Jeff. I just feel like if I sink all my money into one player and I don't give him, if I don't surround him with players, I'm setting him up for failure. If you have a good team, a decent team, and maybe had some injuries or you just didn't play well enough, maybe that works for me. You bring in a guy like Trevor Lawrence, but look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was all world last year, and they're 0-3.
Well, no. They're 0-2-1. That's
0-2-1. All right, agreed. Okay.
Second of all, you can't compare LSU to the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that's just been horrendous the last couple of years.
Right.
But not for nothing, last year, I don't remember Cincinnati getting on a board in the win column or anything at this point in time. Weren't they like 1-8 at some
point? I think so. Yeah, they definitely was a while before they won a second game last year.
Yeah, they really weren't a good team. Yeah. Not saying they're a good team now.
No, but again, there's a team. If you watch that game, I watched the highlights of that game. They're on the cusp of being getting better. I don't think they're not a good team, but they're on the cusp. And again, they had a good game. They kind of fell apart at the end. Joe Burrow had a good day, Jeff. 31-44, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception. He took a beating. Second half, I think second half he was 19 of 26 for 218. He's a good quarterback. There's no doubt.
Burrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's flip over to the other side. And again, they're playing the Jaguars this week, and I'm taking them to win that game. It's time to be concerned if you're an Eagles fan about Carson Wentz. I mean, the guy's got 6 interceptions this year. He's just not played well, and I think there was a reason why the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round last year.
Oh, listen, maybe they're going to look to get rid of and move on from Wentz.
Didn't Wentz sign a big extension already to his contract?
Goff did. I don't know about Wentz.
I know Goff did for sure. I thought Wentz did as well.
I don't know.
And the Jets just gave up a very long touchdown. Sam Darnold's on the sideline throwing footballs. I guess he went in and took a shot, maybe in the keister, maybe in the arm. Not sure.
Who knows? But, real quick, back to the Jets. You got to think of something. They traded, what's his face? Jamal Adams for those 2 number 1 picks from Seattle.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Okay? So if they were to get, they would go after Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
Right? And they traded their number 1 this year, Seattle's number 1 this year, and Seattle's number 1 next year.
Uh-huh.
So that would mean that they traded basically their number 1 pick and Jamal Adams for Trevor Lawrence and that safety that they got from Seattle.
Yeah.
I would think that would be a good deal, that you traded Jamal Adams twice, so to speak.
Yeah, again, here's the thing, Jeff. You could not pay Jamal Adams what he wanted to be paid. In today's day and age, you're going to pay your impact plays, guys who play impact positions, defensive end, left tackle, quarterback, wide receiver, corner. You're going to pay those guys real money. You cannot do it with the safety. And I think Jamal Adams is a good player, but between the locker room lawyer stuff and the fact that he wanted to be the highest paid defensive player in football, again, he was a great player last year, and they sucked. So, again, I think they could suck without him this year.
Well, they didn't suck last year. They were 7-9. Not saying that they were Super Bowl contenders.
Right.
They started off 1-7 and ended up finishing 7-9. Once the team, started to get involved and start to play, and But I hear you what you're saying. But you know what, Tom? Every defensive player is probably going to want to be the highest paid.
I agree. But again, pay me if you're the defensive end or shut down corner. I'm paying attention, but I'm not going to do it at safety, Jeff. It's not an impact position. Name me the last safety who took over a game and made it all about him. It just doesn't happen.
Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, that's 15 years ago.
But nonetheless, he did it.
I got it, but it's a different age of a game now. And again, Troy Polamalu was probably never the highest paid player on his own team, let alone in the game. I'm not saying that you don't want a good one. I'm all for it, but I just don't think you break the bank for a guy like that. You want to overpay him a little bit, I'm all for it. You keep a guy like that, use your number 1 pick. But if he was so good, why did they take another safety in the same draft?
I don't know, and I remember asking that question on this show when it actually happened.
Yeah, I know you did.
Draft 2 safeties, but now at this point in time, Marcus May is playing good football.
100%.
And it looks like it definitely was the smart move.
Yeah.
They drafted that safety just last year, so they could insert him into the lineup and have him play. Plus, they ended up getting the safety who wasn't a bad safety from Seattle.
Yeah, agreed. Again, there's certain position on the field that you go, all right, I'll overpay or I'll pay high money for because they're impact players. Safeties are just not impact players today. Linebackers are not. Running backs are not. Although running backs are starting to come around, you're starting to see teams overpay running backs because the level of quarterbacks are not there anymore. You're starting to see a drop off in some of the quarterback play.
I think if you got yourself a running back that could go out, that could run, catch passes out of the backfield, could help block. There's a lot of running backs in the league today, Tom, that cannot block.
I agree 100%.
Okay, I don't want to throw out names.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, I don't want to say names.
Here we go.
I don't want to say a name.
You don't want to do that?
No, I don't want to say Bob. I don't want to say New York Giants running back. So cannot block. anything.
You don't want to do that,
Don't
right?
want to do that. Don't want to
Oh.
do that. But we gotta acknowledge it. Got to acknowledge it.
Yeah, yes, yeah. We acknowledge a lot of stuff here on the Hard Rock and Sports Show every Thursday night. Some of it's real, some of it's fake news. As we get
fake, man. Numbers don't lie. Come on.
As we get through the fake news, we're doing a couple more minutes on the NFL, guys. Remember, we're back next Thursday night with Ron Keel. Tonight we still got a couple things left in the thing. We're talking football, which is listen. This week will be quarter of the season. Jeff, in your opinion, when do you know what the league looks like? At what point in the season do you say, "Hey, it's week X, and this is what the teams are going to be"? Is it? Some people say it's mid-season. I think that's a little late. I'm always big after week 4. To me, after week 4, you basically are what you are, in my opinion.
Well, it depends. I think week 4, week 5 in the regular season, see the way the league is shaping up. Maybe not teams. Okay, maybe teams a little bit later, but you're going to start to see which teams are starting to sink to the bottom. This year is a completely different story. Teams like the Jets and the Giants, they fucking tied rocks around themselves and jumped in the deep end of the pool, and continue to try to go further down into the abyss. They're looking for the drain. Never mind fucking on the pool.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
But I would say, at this point in time, this season, the way it's going, and you may go past the halfway point. But
you think there'll be big changes if, let's say, second half of the season? You think certain teams will make bigger runs, or certain teams will have a big drop off?
No, I think you're going to see players that may turn around and be like, this guy's going to play throughout the year. This guy's going to start to shut it down soon. His team's almost out of contention. This guy didn't get to sign a contract for next year. He's on a bad team. He's going to start to shut it down a little bit. This guy's looking for a payday next year. He's going to start playing extra hard. So that's what I mean. I think you'll see stuff like that happen.
All right, so let's the NFL's got their power rankings out, and I really don't care about this. Give me the team you think. Give me the 2 teams in each conference that you say right now are playing the best football.
Well, in the American AFC, I'd have to go with Buffalo and Kansas City.
Okay.
And in the NFC, I think you have to go with Green Bay and probably Seattle.
Okay. It's hard to argue 3-0. I mean, I think the Bucs have been better. But, yeah, I would say you're probably right. I'd see Seattle and Green Bay are probably the 2 best teams in the NFC. AFC, Pittsburgh's hard to argue with Pittsburgh, though, Jeff, right now. Buffalo, yeah. I think the number 2 team's tough. Kansas City is easily the best team in football right now.
Yeah, I just listen. I think Buffalo is an up-and-coming team. They made the playoffs last year, and I just think that they're going to be a team to watch out for this year. I think that they're going to get the AFC East, and I think it's time to start looking past some of the teams. Pittsburgh has been in the playoffs for God knows how many years. Although if you talk to a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, they're going to say that their team is awful, their coach sucks, changes need to be made. Meanwhile, they've been in the playoffs for how many years?
Yeah, I think even a lot of Steelers fans came back last year and thought that Tomlin did a good job. I mean, I think they were calling for his head the year before. I think last year, even though it ain't 8, considering that Roethlisberger was gone for all the season, they got rid of Bell. I thought he did a good job at keeping that team competitive, and they hung in there till the end of the season.
Yeah,
so it's good. I think right now, Jeff, the way they're shaping up now, there's a couple of teams. There's couple really good divisions. The NFC West, everybody's 2-1 except Seattle's 3-0, and there's one really bad division. That's the NFC East. I mean, just horrendous.
The NFC West is the only division in football right now where everybody has a plus point differential.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Every team plus point differential.
Yeah, surprisingly, the Rams. Surprisingly, the Rams have been better than I expected them to be. I think that the last couple seasons, I expected them to shit the bed this year, but they've surprisingly done well. Frisco, considering, listen, they haven't really they've lost to a decent team opening week, and then they beat two bums in the Giants and the Jets. So I'm not impressed so far with Frisco.
Let's see who is San Francisco playing this week.
This week, Frisco, let's see, is at home to another cakewalk. They're home to Philadelphia.
All right, so let's see how they play this week and next week, and you'll get a better feel for what's going on with
I agree.
49ers, because it's still early, and just because they're winning, they are beating some teams that are a little bit on the easy side.
Yep.
Also, too, to the 49ers' credit, they played two weaker teams on the road and played two games in the same stadium 2 weeks in a row.
True, all true, and won easily 36. Would they beat
36-9 or something like that?
Yeah, they beat the Giants 36-9. I think they beat the Jets 36-7, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something like by way too many points.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, don't forget this week the SEC rejoins the college football ranks. Thank God. The big games this week, to me, is Georgia Auburn. It should be a great game, and Texas is playing. Oh, that's another good game. You're gonna like that one if you're. Is it Texas? Hold on 1 second. I had to point that out. Yeah, Texas. No. It's not, no. It's Hold on. Alabama, Texas A&M. That's it. Alabama, Texas A&M, and Georgia Auburn. Two good football games this week. Jeff, here's the bad part. So I know that the SEC is getting involved now. Some of the other conferences, the ACC and other ones, have already been playing. The Big 12 kicks off at the end of this month. The Big 10 kicks off at the end of the month. And then the Pac-12, which is all the West Coast teams, they kick off in November and play 7 games. I don't know how you pick a playoff system. Some teams are playing 12 games. Some teams are playing 8 games. Some teams are playing 7 games. I think it's going to be tough in college football this year to come up with a 14 playoff out of all of that.
Yeah, I had heard a rumor that they may use winning percentage.
They'd have to, I guess, right? But I think here's the difference, though, Jeff. You know what might be different this year about it is it's not going to be based on wins and losses. It's going to have to be eye test. The judges, the people who pick, they get together at some point. They start coming up with a top 5 or 6, and they change it they meet every week. You're going to have to watch every game now. You can't go by and say, well, so-and-so beat so-and-so. You're going to have to watch and use the eye test as the guide for who gets in the playoffs for college football this year.
Yeah, well, it's a different situation, Tom. We keep saying it.
Yeah, it's a whole different year.
Situation. You don't know what's going to happen. They may have a system in place now and change it as it gets closer to the playoff time.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Nope.
No.
Broncos up 10-7 over the Jets. Donald's back in there. Looks like he's favoring the shoulder a little bit, but he's game out there, so good for Donald. But the Jets down 10-7.
Why are you going to put this kid out there? Even if he's not the answer, take him out. Let Flacco play. Don't let this kid get hurt unnecessarily.
Well, let's see. 3rd and 1 for the Jets. 10 minutes left in the second quarter. The Jets on the road at midfield. Young Rippon threw a bomb down the sideline, and receiver made a nice play. Jerry Jeudy, the rookie out of Alabama. So, but Jeff, one question. We were talking about the fact that there's a team with COVID and they're delaying the game till Tuesday, possibly. What do you think happens later in the season? Like this, if that's a playoff implicated game, if that's a game that's got some playoff implications, what does the league do if, let's say, it's a team? I'm going to do it this way. Let's say it's a bad team like the Jaguars or the Jets or Giants, and they get a bunch of their players with COVID, but they're playing a team like the Seahawks or the Steelers who are fighting for a playoff spot. What does the league do? Do they have to make the Giants play really shorthanded in order to get a game in? How do you think the league should handle it? Should they play that game a couple days before the playoffs just to let the Giants be the COVID-infested team be healthy?
I don't know, dude. It's a good question simply because how about this one? Every time a team misses a game, so say they don't make these games up.
Yeah.
And you may turn around and say, well, it's just one game. Who cares? It's one game. But that one game could make a big difference
Yeah.
determining a draft pick.
Do you make that a percentage thing? Do you turning it into, and instead of wins and losses, does everybody get graded on percentages?
Well, let's take a team like the Bengals.
Okay.
Or I believe the Eagles also have a tie, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's just say that they finish, near the bottom of the pack. So they're up near the top, within the top 5. Okay. But now a team that had more losses falls out of the top 5, because the percentages don't work for them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to use the percentage, you got to find a foolproof way, because there may be a team that's more deserving of the pick because they weren't such a good team, but because they had more losses or however, it would cause them to percentage-wise be a better team.
Yeah.
It just, no.
Yeah, it's a tough season. I mean, if you get to one of these games, like let's say this game was postponed and not played, and at the end of the season, it means nothing for a playoff spot, but it means something to let's say it meant something to the Titans as a draft pick thing. Do the Titans, because they won, they played one less game, their win percentage is a little higher that against a team that lost one more game because they played one more?
Exactly what I mean.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough. I don't know. I guess at that point you assume that they would have lost anyway, and they would have been a worse team. It makes for a very interesting playoff setup, and then another Jet down on the ground and writhing in pain. I don't know who it is.
Keep going with that. I gotta go get a drink real quick.
Yeah. So, guys, Hard Rocket Sports. We're here, Jeff, Tom, and Tom here every Thursday night, 7 to 10 or 9:30. We kind of close up about 9:30 lately, but we're back on Sunday mornings from 9 to 10 with the Hard Rocket Sports Sunday morning football show. We kind of go around the league real quick, give you our unique analysis and picks for each game. And it goes back on Thursday nights where we have some guests and we talk sports and we talk music. And we're going to wrap it up in a minute or two into a little Iron Maiden. And then when Jeff gets back, and then we're going to wrap this up and move on. But I thanks everybody for listening and paying attention to us. And please share the show. Let your friends know. We'll get out there on social media and like the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Go to our YouTube page and click subscribe. And, just show your love for the show. We're here every Thursday night. We've got the holidays coming up, but one thing is consistent. The Hard Rocket Sports Show will be here every Thursday night to help you out. And again, guys, football season, we got the playoffs. The Yankees come up with a big 2-0 sweep. I hate to say 2-0 sweep, but that is a 2-0 sweep of the Cleveland Indians last night in a very odd series. Not a fun series to watch, but a good series for the Yankees to win. We'll see them on Monday night when they open up a 5-game in 5 days series with the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm picking the Yankees in 4. I think the Yankees are a better team, playing well. If they stay away from injuries, I think this Yankee team is better. Jeff, let's talk a little Iron Maiden. Looks like the Iron Maiden guys have been busy behind the scenes, recording a new album, working on some new stuff. Any interest from your end in listening, buying, seeing, hearing anything from a new Iron Maiden album?
I mean, I may give it a listen, but to tell you the truth, no, Maiden is one of those bands to me that, doesn't have to go through the problem of making an album. Does mean not much.
If I called you up one day and said, Jeff, Iron Maiden's new album just came out. It sounds just like Peace of Mind. It sounds just like Number of the Beast.
I would find it hard to believe, to be honest with you.
I would too. They've gone too far progressive. The Maine's become a progressive metal band, and I don't really care for it. I like some of the music from the last few albums, but they're not great albums.
No.
Book of Souls was a disappointment. I would tell you, Book of Souls has not one song. I would say there's not one song that I would go. I gotta hear again.
Speed of Light is
maybe. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, that's probably the only one. Even Final Frontiers had a couple of songs that were good, but Speed of Light was good. You're right, but it's weird. Why is it that nowadays? Here's a band, Jeff, Iron Maiden, that would put out albums that from 1 through 10, 11, 12 songs were just great songs, and now they can't seem to write another album where they have more than 1 or 2 good songs on it. What happens?
I don't know if you should say it that way. Is that true to say that, or is it just that we have grown as people, as getting a little bit more mature here, and just be like, you know what, I just not the same Iron Maiden fan I once was.
Yeah, but I can go back and listen to the old albums and still like the same songs I liked. So it's not like I can go back now and listen to some Kiss albums from there that I thought were great and go, wow, this is really bad. This isn't good. But now I go back to the Maiden albums, and those first 4 albums, the songs I loved, I still love. The songs I weren't crazy about, I still aren't crazy about.
Because I would imagine that you would still think that Iron Maiden themselves are a musically talented band.
Absolutely.
A lot more talented than Kiss
ever
was.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So, that's why the quality of the music is there.
But why doesn't it translate into an album, though, Jeff? Why can't I get an Iron Maiden album that's got 4 really good songs on it anymore?
You just hit 53. Okay. Do you still really think that you're going to listen to music every day that starts off "Woe to You, Earth and Sea"? Called "The Number of the Beast," or maybe an album called "Killers." You know what I mean? It's like
I got it.
You're saying, but it's a give and take. You got to think like, when we were younger, wow, look at the cover, man. The cover's fucking cool. Now it's like different things take up life. You know what I mean?
What was the last album you bought, whether digitally or otherwise, where you could say half or better were good or better than good songs?
Oh, Rainier Fog from Alice in Chains.
Now, how long ago was that?
I think that album will be out. I think it's 2 years come the end of this year.
Okay, so you have something. I was thinking about that the other day. I was trying to think of the last album I bought where I said I can listen to it front to back and not skip a song.
That to me is definitely one album. That Rainier Fog. I think it's a great album. I think it's the best Alice in Chains album since Dirt.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, I love Maiden, and here's a band with basically the same band for 40 years. Okay, it's 40 years with the same band. They all been writing. The same guys have been writing for 40 years, and the first 4, maybe 5 albums, maybe up to Power Slave. After that, they dropped a little bit. But up to Power Slave, even Power Slave, half that album was a good album. Why can't they write songs that are that good anymore? Why is it me? Are you saying that my tastes have changed and that's why? Or is it the band's taste have changed?
I think it's a combination of everything. I think it has something to do with your taste in music, without a doubt. I think it has something to do with the band. Everybody involved is getting older. Right now you may wake up tomorrow and say, fuck, I got to go to the pharmacy and get cholesterol pills. And, now when I go to pee, a 30-second piss takes 5 minutes because it just ain't happening like it once was. And, and these guys, the same thing. You're talking about guys that are staring at 70 and, now you're asking them to write songs on the same level that they did 40 years ago. And it's just not happening. It's a whole bunch of different things. 40 years ago, our biggest thing was just like, wow, how come Eddie Killer looks different on this album than he did the last album? Yeah. Now it may be like, well, I got a mortgage payment to make, but I can only pay the car and buy food, or pay the house and not, eat for the next week and a half. It's, life is different.
Yeah.
We don't have the luxury of sitting around and listening to all of this albums right after, and one after another like we did when we were kids, when you're supposed to be doing science homework, but they are fucking off listening to Iron Maiden albums and shit. It's completely different. It's a whole bunch of different things. I don't think that some of these bands put the effort into what they're doing.
Using Blog Talk Radio. Bye.
Yeah, I hate to think that way though, Jeff. I hate to think that it's because Maiden stopped paying attention to the writing. I listen, Maiden has gotten real progressive. We both know that, and I'm not the hugest fan of it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the third guitar player, but I'm not blaming him. I just think it's kind of what the direction the band is. But yeah, again, I just can't. I thought about it the other day. I just can't figure out why I can't get a Maiden album where I'm not buying it for one song or two songs.
Well, I think that also you got to think too. When we used to buy an album years ago, okay, you bought the whole album.
Sure.
Now, due to Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, whatever, however, you could pick and choose what songs you want. So it's like, you know what? Why do we have to make the greatest album since the last one we made? We could just put out 3 or 4 good songs because we're not getting money for an album anyway.
I got it, but they're putting out the album, and I'm buying the album, so I'm doing the homework. Like they're doing it. No, I got it. But I'm talking about me.
Else is.
No, I got that, but I'm saying this. So you're saying this Maiden's not putting in the effort on all 10 songs because nobody's buying it?
I'm not saying that they're not. That's what's actually going on.
Right.
I just don't think that they're going to spend the time and everything because they know that it's not going to be bought. Let me ask you something. I saw a question online on Facebook the other day. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you the question and see what you say.
Huh?
Somewhere in Time, what's your favorite song?
That's a great question.
It's a great question, which I have no idea which way you're going to go with telling me what song, because I'll finish the reason why and tell me a song.
I'm waiting on you.
Well, don't wait on me. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for
you. I'm still thinking. You said I'm just trying to. I'm sorry. I'm kind of typing. I want to kind of bring up the song list again, just to kind of remind myself of all the songs that are on that album. Wow. Actually, that album was released on my birthday in 1986. That's funny. I did not know that.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's talk real quick about it, okay? One, it wasn't one of their.
Oh, it's easy. I'm sorry. I can even answer that right off the top of my head. I forgot. The Wasted Years is easily, by far, my favorite song off that album. By far, I love that song.
Okay. It's their first album with synthesizers.
Yep.
Okay. They changed a little bit. Eddie Killer was now futuristic.
Yep.
You know, it was a different concept on the album, and it just wasn't. There was really no songs that reached out and grabbed you. I mean, there's "Stranger in a Strange Land," "Alexander the Great." I couldn't even tell you some anymore. Maybe "Heaven Can't Wait" or "Heaven Could Wait."
Yep, good call.
There wasn't many great songs on that album.
Yeah, I would tell you out of that, "Alexander the Great's" a good song. A little long for my taste. I'm not a big fan of the 8-minute song, Jeff. I just am not.
Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, wasn't like a 12-minute song or something silly like that?
No, the longest is at 6 minutes and 31 seconds. The longest song on that album is Alexander the Great, 8 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, I just don't think that these songs appeal to anybody. So knowing that, we just picked 2 completely different songs.
Yeah,
you're telling me that you're not a fan of the song that I picked. I am definitely not a fan of the song "Wasted Years."
Oh, I love that song. I think that's one of the from that era, from that like second era of Maiden. That's my favorite. That and "Clairvoyant." Oh my God, great tunes.
Well, listen, but
again, different.
So it doesn't really matter if that was today. Would you want to hear that from today's Iron Maiden?
That's one song. Other than that, like I said, I would probably skip over a lot of these songs. They're not, like I said, Alexander the Great's a good tune. I mean, not great. Again, after Power Slave, it just took a tumble down for me. It just went from listening to every song, even on Power Slave. I guess what's the one big song, the one long song on that? Not Rhyme of the Ancient Man.
Rhyme of the Ancient Man.
Yeah. Even that one, like I can listen to that, but I would tell you, if that song came on 10 times, 6 or 7 of them, I would skip it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to listen to that whole song.
Yeah, it's there are parts of that song that goes really good. But I got to be honest with you, even like Aces High and 2 Minutes to Midnight are not my favorite Iron Maiden songs. Like I most of the time I will skip right past them. I'm just not a huge fan of those songs.
So already you're looking back at albums that are getting up there in time and age,
almost 40 years,
and you're not a big fan of those albums. You're saying there's certain songs that you're just like,
No, I get it, but again, up until that point, though, again, I'll give you half of the Power Slave album I can listen to, more than half. before that, there's not probably 3 songs on the first 4 albums that I would skip past.
Well, so it already started way before anything new.
You're probably right. No, you're probably right. No, you're right. But now, Jeff, it's down to where it's basically one song. And again, I hope that the next, a lot of bands now are trying to go back to the roots. Metallica did it with Haywired. Priest just did it with the last album, Firepower. Where you try to get back to your roots. I'm hoping Maiden does that at some point. At least one shot. Go back to the early days, and go back to the galloping and that kind of stuff. And the 4-minute song.
I don't know if you're ever going to see that, Tom.
No, you're probably right, Jeff. You're probably.
If you listen to one of these 8 to 10 minute songs, and then you listen to it, it's verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, pre-chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, lead, solo, outro, whatever. So they just continue. Yeah, the song's long, but they keep playing the same parts.
Yes, I agree. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the the last album was 92 minutes long. It probably had 4 songs on it. I mean, it's just too much. But listen, it's Maiden. They're in the studio. They're working on stuff. I'll buy it. I'm certainly gonna get it. I got a $50 gift certificate to Vintage Vinyl for my birthday. It was one of my gifts. So I will be taking a ride this weekend to Vintage Vinyl and buying some new music. Haven't bought an album in a while. So, that'll be on my bucket list. What are you doing this weekend, Jeff? Got any plans besides work?
No, it looks like it's going to be a quiet weekend. I worked a little extra this week, a couple days, and then I got to go back to work Sunday. And then next weekend, Sharon is going to be away. She's going to California to go visit her daughter. And I don't know. I may take next Sunday off. I got to see. I don't know. I got to see.
Make sure you practice. We got the big band practice next Saturday at 2:00 over at Mode. So make sure you're ready for that. Get down to your songs and I have to tell you, I was doing a little guitar shopping online this week. I might be purchasing a new guitar. I haven't decided yet. I haven't picked one out officially, but
could I ask what you're looking at?
Well, I have been stuck on the Wolfgang series. I love the Wolfgang guitars.
Okay.
So I am stuck there. I am thinking of some, there's a Charvel or an Ibanez or 2 I kind of like, but I've kind of soured on the Ibanez over the years. I don't know why. But there are a couple of guitars that are on the, on the radar screen. I'm having a hard time pulling the trigger, but we'll see. The Wolfgang may be the one that I go with. I love the look, so we'll see.
Well, I just hope that you do the right thing. That's all I'm going to say.
The right thing would be not to buy another guitar because I already own 4 that I can't play.
That's okay. It's okay. I just bought a new bass.
I know you did. Yes, you.
And I can't really play them either.
Well, see, here's the difference. You practice a couple times a week whenever possible with bands and stuff, and you're more apt to play out. I have been averaging probably 2 or 3 gigs a year at best. So to think about, I got 3 guitars now right behind me. I can't. Can only play 1 at a time. Although I play 2 each practice every time I sit down because they're tuned differently, so it makes my life easier.
Yeah, but it's still listen. We go to work to buy ourselves things. You can't go to work every day and just make it about like, okay, I got to save, can't spend.
Yeah, well, that's my wife said that we're good. I actually took tomorrow off.
Oh, nice, good for you.
Yeah, we're going to take a ride down to Philadelphia for the day, and
oh, good.
Yeah, to go. I might do the Rocky tour. Hit all the places for the movie Rocky. Hit all the big places and take some photos. I'm a big fan of the Rocky series. Got to watch some of those last weekend, but that's on my list for the weekend, and then back for football on Saturday and Sunday. And
review.
Yep, we'll see.
Everywhere you go, there's a Guitar Center. Everywhere.
Thankfully, I have not run into a Guitar Center or a Sam Ash or anything else in Philadelphia. And let's hope it stays that way. But of course, if I make any purchases, Jeff, or I need a push, you will be the guy I call.
I gotta say, I can't do that this time.
You can't?
No, this has got to be all you.
This one's on me?
This one's got to be all you, man.
So you got me for the other 2. You're not taking. You don't want to take credit for a third?
No.
All right. Technically, technically you would be the guy for all three because you purchased my White Jackson, and you pushed me on the other two.
I had nothing to do with the Strat.
No, I think you were a little influential on the Strat, if I remember right.
On the Les Paul, and I was like,
no, Les Paul, you were a bully on.
That's not true.
That's very true. I was bullied into the Les Paul.
Within earshot.
She's not, but this is being recorded. I will play it for her.
Well, go right ahead. Go ahead, play whatever you want.
All right, guys. I'm gonna let Jeff go and get some sleep. We're gonna end the show now. We had this 2.5 hours flying right by, and we'll be back on Sunday. If you guys are around, stop by and see us at Sunday morning 9:00 right here on the Hard Rockin' Sports Facebook page, where I do the Sunday morning football show right here on the Hard Rockin' Sports Show. And of course, we'll be back next Thursday night, 7 to 10, hopefully. With our guest will be Ron Keel from the band Keel, and of course, solo stuff. Just back from the country music genre, I believe, back into rock and roll. So looking forward to that. Matt Salitri, who was on for us before, Matt will be joining us to talk a little bit about the first quarter of the season. Jeff and I will break down the first 4 games of the NFL season, tell you who we like, and give you our top 10 power rankings in the NFL. And what else we got next week? Ron Keel, Matt. Power rankings. Oh, and then we'll by that time it'll be game 4 of the Yankees Tampa Bay series. Jeff, will you pay attention a little bit to the Yankees next week at all? A little even about ESPN it?
I may read about it and everything just to see, keep tabs of what they're doing. But as far as watching it, no, I have no urge.
If the Yankees got to the World Series and were playing maybe game 6 and 7, would you get at that point at least flip the channel on and catch a couple innings? You just won't catch your tune, huh?
I can't. The game is too slow. The game is too boring.
Okay.
Just don't like it.
Listen, just got to ask. All right, well, guys, I will be watching because that's what I do. I kind of keep up with it. So come on back next week and we'll talk about it. Hopefully you guys will have a great weekend. Make sure you go out and have some fun. October 1st, it's fall. It's beautiful weather out. The weather's been great the last few days. I love it. I wish we could live in this kind of weather all year round, but the cold is coming. I can promise you that, folks. Yeah. Jeff, we're getting old.
We'll be here soon.
Yep. Okay, so guys, we're going to wrap this up. So please go out and have a nice weekend and come on back Sunday and Thursday and check out hardrocketsports.com and go to our Facebook page. Go to our YouTube page and hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to at least 20. We're creeping up on 20 now. So come on, subscribe. And again, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy the football. Enjoy your weather. Get out there and have some fun in it. And come on back and join Jeff and me next week. Jeff, anything you want to add before we close it?
No, man. That's just hope that Adam Gase is not on the Jets next week at this time.
Well,
that'd be great.
Broncos just scored another touchdown, Jeff. So let's see. Did he get in there? Nope, he's short. Very close, but Broncos are creeping up on the doorstep. So, guys, for Jeff, for myself, for Basil, who popped in for a few minutes, and everybody else here at the Hard Rockin' Sports Show, make sure you tune in and catch us next time. So for Jeff, myself, and everybody, have a great night and a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Have a enjoy your night, pal. Talk to you tomorrow.
You too, man. Enjoy your trip, bro.
Thanks, brother. See you later. And let's end the broadcast.